Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to this week's edition of GKP Live. I hope everybody's good and everybody's well. And the usual thing, guys, we'll be right back after this. We caught you, Daz, mid-tea.
She just bought me blooming chili through.
Perfect timing. Followed by trifle, no doubt.
Not tonight, no.
Not tonight? Oh, I'm sorry, ladies and gents. Tonight there will be no trifle. I
No,
know
it's
there'll be a lot of people out there very disappointed, including Daz.
It's rescheduled for next Thursday.
Oh, good man, good man. Good evening to all. Thank you very much for joining us. And I was just about to say Rick should be with us because he did send me a link saying, "Where's the link for tonight?" There you go, mate. And as if
Evening, Rick.
magic he appears.
Magic.
I've been having a look at some pictures today, mate, that have been sent through to me from Vince, showing me all the damage that the rats did, man.
Yeah, we got annihilated in a couple of tunnels.
There were little runs through everywhere, didn't they? Chewed all the polystyrene and everything, and all the liners.
God.
I'll show you later on, Daz. It's pretty bad, to be fair.
They're destructive. It's amazing what they can chew through.
And they were pretty big rats and all, weren't they? Were like, that don't floor leg. What? Right, question for you. What got the rats?
Well, got poison.
Oh, right. So Vince said, hopefully a shovel. And I said, but it'd been a bit of sweet revenge, wouldn't it? Have that little gig.
Be nice, but no. We obviously got poison down once we noticed the damage. But yeah, it's just when you're not there over Christmas and it turns cold, it's a nice place for them to go and destroy.
Yeah, a
them.
little less disturbance, less hustle and bustle, nobody around, so they all start causing havoc. And did they eat some of the koi as well?
No, they will if there's a dead one about. But
Yeah.
it's almost like they know that if they could kill them all, they'd be
It's
pretty
funny.
good.
I had one die in the pond about 2 years ago, and it must have died in the night, and a bloody rat had ate off of it. Don't know. I managed to get to it. It's right at the side. But yeah, the rat must have sniffed it out and started to eat it.
Daz found one on his mum and dad's on farm on the side of the hot tub like this. And it chewed through power cable and zapped its ass.
Gone bang. Your mum says
It was like that.
Someone could work out why the hot tub would come on.
Power
To a
kept
liquid
tripping
box.
out every time he switched it back on, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good at nibbling the casing.
Yeah, but they're. Is that Mrs. New Forest on her way out? Just coming in?
Just, putting Ezra back down, or putting him down. Trying
Have a
to
nice
keep him.
night. Have a nice evening if you're going anywhere.
I actually got
Right.
with the dogs, Rick, for the poison. They stay away from it.
Yeah, they don't touch it, and they don't touch the rat. So
Yeah.
So dogs live the life on the edge anyway, don't they, Rick? They're like boilies and all sorts.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
yeah,
never
they
gonna
do
get back down.
fish bait. You got to be careful. Yeah.
Right, I'll just catch up with everybody that did say. I did flick everybody's comments in as we were coming in. Thank you very much. We've got a bit of royalty in Cow Pond Lifestyle. Cheers for joining us, Andy. If anybody does want to join us this evening, the link is as always at the top of the comments. You can click on there. Feel free to jump on. There is room for 10 or 11 of us. Still haven't found that theory out yet as to find out whether we can actually have just 10 or 10 plus me. So hopefully one of these days we will do. We've got a good evening there from Telford Coy Pond. Evening, everyone. Hope you all are well and staying warm. Ooh, now then, there's a topic. There is a
Staying warm.
topic. It is supposed to be getting extremely cold come this end of the weekend and what have you.
Oh, God.
By the 19th, they're predicting temperatures to drop as low as -15, which is pretty cold.
Dear.
I hope to God it doesn't, but
Me
they are
too.
due to fall rapid. There you go. Life around the Koi Ponds put in there. Temperatures are due to fall to -6 over the weekend. Hope you're all ready. If you haven't, guys, make sure that you've lagged any pipes that are external that you can do. And if you can, make sure that you switch off backy showers or anything like that. It's going to super chill your water. Put your returns back underneath if it's possible. It's going to be a cold one, so they say, whoever they are. But that's what they reckon. It's going to drop off. Apparently, it's supposed to be like the type of storm that we had way back in 2013 or 15, where we had that bad beast from the east kind of job. Yeah, supposedly. I don't know how much it's
from the
it's
west.
true. Yeah, but it's supposed to be hitting cold. I was surprised because we were talking about this earlier on, me and Jeff, and when I got home this evening, when I got up this morning, they were all grouped up, down low, at bottom, in a big mass. It looks pretty cool to see them all in a big number, all stacked up, head to head, we're all in a long line.
Lined up like buses parked.
Yeah, they do, just like they just shunted up, haven't they, and parked up for night.
Yeah.
But when I come back this evening, they were cruising around everywhere, looking for food. So I thought, well, you can have one handful. And off they came, they come up straight for it. So they got a little bit. They always tell when they're sucking around on side at ponds that they're interested in a little bit of something. Well, that's what mine seem to do anyway. So almost.
I've moved some of mine
Look at this.
Ready.
Daz has entered the race as well.
He's got his tank ready.
His tank ready and he's got some koi in it.
Is he feeding them Quality Street?
I
Yeah,
am.
and apparently they really like them and all.
They like the nuttiness.
They're bright as hell though, those lights, Daz. Yeah. He put
Yeah.
his lights in yesterday. I'm like, God damn, Daz, what's that? Daz, what's happened to you? He said, I
It's
think
like a
it's
massive
light.
halo over me. I couldn't see.
And then he suddenly realised that there were a fingerprint over his lens on his camera. So we're like, give it a good clean, and it went. Right, let's have a quick look through some of these. Simon says, love those blue pellets, which feed the rest of the family. Wipe out. That's it, mate, 100%. Cowboy says, good evening all, good evening bud, thank you very much for joining us. And then again there, Andy's bit there where he said temperatures are due to fall to -6 over the weekend. Hope you're ready. Yeah, it's forecasted, mate. As Vicky said there, to help Gaz see the questions, please put them in caps so they stand out, thank you. And I will address something that was brought up last week. I don't want to see any comments of people slagging off individuals, whether it be anybody slagging off anybody. It's not something we need. Let's start the new year off with a fucking new fresh start where some of us actually forget about the past and move forward with the future. There's enough crap going on in the world without anybody trying to make a coy talk, general chat about it as well. If you've got issues with each other, be adult about it, move on, forget about it, put it behind you and move forward. It's there's no need for it, and I don't want it to be continuing this week either. Anybody I see doing it, you will be banned, you will be removed. You've all had your warning, and I'm not pissing about no more. Anybody does it, anybody starts slagging off anybody individual, the admin will remove you, or I will. We'd rather have a peaceful, nice, general chit-chat conversation. I don't mind banter, that's obviously banter's banter, but when it gets to individual bits and bats where people are individually name-calling folk, there ain't no need for it, man. We don't need to be having it all. Sharpie says, great article in Koi Talk from Rick. Oh, great article from you, Rick, I'm going to guess. Your article must be in this month's issue, then.
Yeah, Vince nicked the copy, I think. I think I've seen it.
Vince, you'll have to tell us what's in the article, because I haven't seen it. Rick, I read
It's a
it.
continuation from what I was doing with Joe. I don't know. Yeah, it's like a second part.
November-ish. From November through.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Information.
I'll have to see if we can get a read. I'll have to let Vince. I shall have tomorrow lunchtime from 12:30 while I'm having dinner. You can read it to me.
Story time.
Yeah, be like one of those story times with Vince.
You could buy a copy.
I could buy a copy, but why would I buy it when I can
This
get
is
it
Gaz you're
online?
talking about.
I could buy a copy, just the one, just to read your article. To be fair though, from what I have heard, it is a very good magazine and it is some very good content in it. And there are some other new magazines coming out as well. So hopefully there'll be ones online and ones that you can buy to have a paperback copy. I know a lot of people like that kind of thing, don't they? You used to get like magazines, hardback books and what have you, where people can use and put them in a binder and make them out as a collection. So the side that Koi Talk do with it is quite a collectible item as well. And I know there's tons and tons of information in them, so... Oh, Vince says he's only halfway through. You'll have to take it back for Rick to read.
You just skip to the pictures.
Yeah. Better be no cutouts, mate. There's holes in it.
Budget Pond Keeper says, Rick, I've got a top rat catching cat to rehome.
Yeah, we've got a couple on site, but they're not very good. And dogs are even worse, so...
We used to have one called the Rat Zapper, and it's like you plug it in, metal plate on the bottom, and you put the bait in. It was brilliant. It nailed them every time. Fried them good and proper. Give them about 1,000 volts.
Apparently that's an up north thing. I'm guessing that's the cold temps, yeah. George Murdoch says -2 where I live in Scotland, all day in Scotland. Tell you what, George, it has proper dropped off, mate. This morning, I'm one of those. I don't know about yourself, but if I'm normally warm. No matter what, if my feet are warm. But if my feet get cold, then I feel cold. And my feet got cold today standing in some squidgy, wet kind of mud in a bit of on a building site. And I felt freezing cold all day, to be fair. So it has definitely dropped off. But
It did this afternoon. It felt like it was going to snow.
who was saying that they got a frost this morning? Jeff was saying he got a frost this morning, but I didn't get note by me this morning. It was like, I think it was 5.6 or 6 degrees this morning when I got up.
Yeah.
Not too bad yet.
No.
Terence Gander says, evening. Good evening, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Evening, Terry.
Well said, Gaz from DT. Thank you very much, mate. Tracy Lester says, good evening all from Tracy and WKP. Thank you very much for joining us, Tracy. Stubbs Aquatics, -6. Sorry, welcome to Great Welcome to Canada.
Canada, mate.
Great comedy, guys. Great comic, guys. Yeah, mate. You get it seriously cold though, don't you? That's. I think. What did you go down to? Was it -40 last year?
I think it was something crazy.
Oh, man, that's.
I can't even imagine it being that cold.
That's stepping outside and freezing to the spot, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
It's
Too
hard to
cold for
imagine
me.
koi surviving in that, but they do.
Well, that's what I think. That's part of one of the reasons why he made his pond deeper this last season. Did it seem weird saying last year? You don't feel that we've been in it long enough, really. Now should have been getting used to it, but it does seem strange to be saying last year. But last year he made it another couple of foot deeper, didn't he? 3 foot deeper, I think. We've got a Gaz and a clapping hands. No worries, bud. Telford Koi Pond said, very well said, Gaz. New year, new start, peace and love, everyone. That's it, mate. 100%. To be fair, I get involved and I get dragged in to a lot of shit that doesn't concern me. But at the end of the day, I don't expect people to come here to partake, enjoy, learn, listen, inform others with information and, you know, everything that is all about koi keeping. And then for some individuals to be getting slagged off and name calling. It's, man, we're all adults. And if there is any kids here, you shouldn't be, because this is for an adult channel only.
It's no good for anyone's mental health.
It ain't, man. That's the main thing. It's the mental health side of things. Christmas is a crap enough period of time for a lot of people. And a lot of people feel real shit as it is, being on their own or for whatever reason. As we've all heard about Paul this year. Yeah. There's a lot of horrible stuff that goes on and happens out there, and there is absolutely no reason for anybody else to be adding to it. So let's just keep it sweet. This always makes me laugh. This makes me laugh. That's almost as good as Sneak About on the other one. Top Jagger. That's belting, that one. Good evening, mate. I like that one. I wish I'd thought of that name. Skeggy with a boom. TK Koi. I live in Bloomington, Indonesia in the USA, and the next 12 days straight we don't see our high temps above or getting above 28 degrees Fahrenheit. As low will be down as -10 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, anybody know what the conversion of that is? Because that's cold.
Fahrenheit, yeah.
-10. It gets weird, doesn't it, with Fahrenheit? It gets down to minus and it starts levelling off about the same, but yeah, it's still cold.
That's cold, whatever.
Yeah.
Bring your fish in.
Yeah, bring your fish in, that's it. WKP says it's all about the koi. How do all? Thank you very much for joining us, WKP. Life Around the Koi Pod says, hello, Skeggy, mate, with a thumbs up. George has got in there, Rick, you need to tie things down so Vince don't take it all.
Yeah, he's got his air source heat pump this week, didn't he? He's doing
he's just received his thing and all. He's got his component come through too.
Mate, if he can get that going, fair play on him. I couldn't get the motherboard, but he's done it. So
it's sorted. He's sourced it, hasn't it? He's got one. Well, it's actually turned. He sent me a picture. It's actually turned up today, and he showed me the old motherboard where the transistor or resistor, I think it's a resistor, the round one. I think the resistor that's gone pop and it's black, and the motherboard's all burnt. So, looking at the new one compared one to the other, looks like he's going to end up with a bit of a bargain there, mate. Bit of a bargain for sure.
Yeah, it is. He wouldn't have it if I didn't plug it on a crappy generator that incinerated.
Yeah, we're saying it took out a load of pumps and stuff as well, didn't it?
Took out
power surged them all.
Yeah. UVs, pumps, heat pump, a lot.
God
and to top it all, the electric company never shut the power down either. So on my test run, I killed everything. Could laugh now, can't we?
That makes it even worse.
Yeah. So
there we got then. Right, let's have a quick flick through. Simon Shear says 1989. They forecast calm weather, clear night. Than that night.
That Michael Fish, wasn't it?
Yeah. About finishing that.
Sweet Egg Koi Farm says, Rick, you need to get some vamoose. It really works. I'd like to get rid of Vince.
Vamoose,
Vince. Stop taking me magazines before I've read them.
Literally, I opened it and he went, "Oh, I'll take."
Oh.
All right.
Well, it's probably one of those things that you think to sit and have a quick read over, thinking you probably already... I mean, anyway, technically you don't need to read your own article. You wrote it, didn't you?
Sort of, but it was so long ago, and it's done in a funny way. So it's not like I'm writing it. I chat with Joe, and then it's transcript, and then he puts it into an article, or whatever. So I think I didn't.
And
say
there's
that
been many
right.
a beer past your lips since then, which might have made you forget sections. Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah.
But it's
One or
all
two.
isn't it?
It's all relative.
He
As
takes
usual.
out the swear words and makes it sound right.
Takes that. Does all those black edited lines through it, Vince? But it's all been cut out to protect the innocent. Right, that we got then. As Vicky said, if anybody wants to drop a question in, drop a comment in, type them out in capital letters, and then fingers crossed, I shan't miss any of them. I don't want to be missing any. We've got a few, not a great deal, but we've got quite a few from a fair few. It seems when you're into the metallics, you're into them in a big way and have a fair few. So
I thought we were only doing one picture. I could have done hundreds.
You have got hundreds, yeah. I thought you would have done more than one picture, to be fair, but that's nice, mate. I like that. That's one from this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't
Well, last year now.
too cold.
Yeah, last year. Well, yeah, and that's the thing, guys. I understand anybody not wanting to bowl up the fish.
Yeah.
And I don't expect anybody to bowl up your fish. If you've got any pictures of fish and what have you, share them through what you've got that are safe enough without disturbing your fish. If they're all hunkered down, don't be going netting them up. The shock of bringing them up and putting them in a bowl and what have you might not do them much good. I know they don't particularly like it at best of times, so less stress the better at this time of year, I would have said. Which is probably the reason why we might actually just bring it to a bit of a tapered end, so to speak, for this kind of period of the year. Right, let's see there. Daryl says, Rick, how many toci do you put in the mud pond to get the best growth? Also, what size are the mud ponds, bud? Average.
All sizes of the ponds.
Bit of spring.
Yeah, the trouble is not really toci, is it? So it's either fry we've just spawned, or we're putting out, toci to grow on for Nisai. So it's a huge difference. So an average mud pond, if we're putting fry in it, we might put 100,000. If we're putting toci in it to grow through Nisai, we might put in 1,000. So it's a big difference. It's a massive difference.
Yeah.
So it's not the size of the fish that go in as much as the size of the fish that are going to come out.
Yeah.
So 1,000 toci going in the spring, grow through Nisai, they're all going to be coming out going from 10 centimeters to 30 centimeters. So 1,000 30 centimeter fish is a lot more biomass of fish than 100,000 tiddlers.
How do you think you fared with... Remember when we were down there, we were doing the day's fishing and what have you? Just before that, you and Vince were doing some work down there and you released a couple of bucket loads into the massive lake.
Yes.
Did you get those back out? Or
we harvested the bulk of them, but the level of them just not good enough. And that's part of the problem. Obviously, it was a new parent set. They went out there with the idea they probably weren't going to come back, but they actually did quite well, so that we did get them back. But realistically, there might be a few hundred that we grow on next year. But yeah, they just didn't work in terms of quality. They're just not good enough.
Yeah.
That's just part and parcel of it.
It's one of them things, isn't it?
It's gamble, yeah.
You don't know till you try it, do you? If it works, it works. They can look fantastic, and if they do, then that's a bonus. But if they don't, you don't know till you give it a go, do you? I suppose. How many times have you done spawns and thought that's not so good?
More often than not, probably. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the particular fish we spawned, so we had a parent set we've done a number of times, and but they didn't spawn. But we had backup fish in there, and it ended up being a Dainichi Sankey cross, a Matsue Sankey. So the quality, the genetics and quality of the parents was, no issue at all. But the outcome of the offspring is just,
that's not good.
And that's just, how it goes.
Is it right, Rick? I mean, I know I've read it, but I don't know if there is any truth behind it. The body and the shape normally tends to come from the female. The pattern side comes from the male.
I wouldn't. Yeah, it's one of those. You do so many comments that don't necessarily work that, but you tend to see farmers, the big farms in Japan almost go down that road because they're using the biggest, best females, and they're using prettier males to complement the fish. From what I've seen, the patterns follow from both sides, as does the body structure, bone structure. So if you use a weak structured fish, inherently you get loads of weak structured fish or whatever. The Benny with Sankeys and stuff. It's all about the red, isn't it? If they haven't got decent Benny patterns, you're onto a loser to start with, regardless. The Sumi can change more, but it's that Benny pattern. And we harvested, I don't know, we took out 25, 30,000 3-inch fish out of that big pond when we netted it. Just Benny patterns weren't there. Not for sellable product as people want to buy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's partly because both parents are quite simple patterns, but normally you'd expect that to come through quite simple, 2-step type patterns. But somewhere there just wasn't the right combination.
Yeah.
And you see it with lots of spawners. You get one, you get a hit, you do a couple of fish, and you might find you end up with 10% of the offspring being, marketable, nice, sellable fish. And that's brilliant. But you always try and improve, so you change your parent and knock it back down to 1%. Yeah. And it's, so we're just getting getting the right balance.
Do you still, because you hand spawn,
yeah.
When you're hand spawning, do you still use a 2 male to 1 female ratio, or do you just go 1 to 1?
Literally, most of the time it's 1 to 1. But we will split the eggs. So, for example, if I've got a big Sankey female that I've not used before and I want to use different males, I will split the eggs into 3 lots and use the 3 males separately.
And see what they produce.
And grow the batches separately. Yeah. And you inevitably find one batch is a lot better than the rest. So that male was. So
I suppose that way then you're eliminating whichever one's not. By doing it in one spawn rather than having to wait for 3 seasons with it.
This is the thing, it's years, isn't it? It's time.
Yeah, but the problem is if you use multiple males, you might get slightly better fertilization rate and whatever. But if you have a good year, you don't know which male produced it. And if the next year that male you change, you don't know where you're going, so you can't have that consistency of offspring to go through and sell off or whatever. So at least when we do it, we know exactly where we're going. And the problem with that is, you do have some real duffins. But when you do have a good one, you know where you're going. You know
exactly which has made that good. Yeah. Now, when you say you've had 1 male to 1 female ratio and they've produced good ones, do they always guarantee to throw good ones again? When you've done them the year after, you had the same results?
Or have you
ever had any of that just throw crap out again?
No. Once you've got the right combination, it's consistent. You'll get out of 100,000 offspring X amount, you get the same percentages from that same gene pool. But as soon as you change a male or change, it all goes.
So a question on top of that then. Sorry, mate. Sorry, guys. I know these, but
it's interesting stuff, guys.
Yeah, a question on top of that then. So if you've produced 1 male, 1 female, and they've produced banging offspring, have you noticed that the parent stock have been what would be considered A-grade koi in the first place? Or have they looked like, because we've been to some places and we've been really surprised, but we don't know whether or not those are older stock fishes where patterns have become less prominent and they've dropped off somewhat, but yet still produce good stock. Or have you found that with your fish that you're using, that have got really good patterns to them as well, they produce really good patterns, or can you produce them from a lesser fish which produces bangers? It's a lot of questions in one there.
There's a lot of questions in one. What you tend to find is if you haven't got the inherent qualities, you're not going anywhere. So all of the parents we use have got certain qualities we're looking for.
Yeah.
What we tend to have to do is buy fish from a bloodline, but a fish that's not got all the attributes because we can't afford it because it's
Yeah,
X
obviously.
amount of money. So we can buy a
Thousands and
male,
thousands and thousands.
or we buy a fish that's got a lopsided pattern or something that makes it much more viable for us to buy, and then use that. So if the genetics are good, then that's your first step. But yeah, it's such a. I think if you're breeding from fish that look rough, but obviously the structure's there, you've got. Yes, you can get good offspring, but you've also got to then bear in mind that if that fish at 10 years old has Benny's dropped off and it looks rubbish, that's probably a trait that's going to pass on to the offspring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they might look really good up until 2 or 3, 4 years old, and then go to bits. So ideally, you'd use a fish that's old and still looks good.
Yeah, still has a good attributes to it.
But yeah, we tend to find that obviously when we first started 30 years ago, we brought fish from farms just because we consoled them in from farms. So we were buying, and we didn't know a great deal about bloodlines and stuff. So obviously we ended up breeding fish that were quite close. Some of the bloodlines were just because that's how we'd brought them. That's what we had to use, and the results were pretty good, but the fish were quite weak. Then we started buying more and more individual broodstock for their qualities, only to find that a lot of those times you mix stuff, and you mix an absolutely superb fish with something else, whatever, and you just don't get the results because the blood you just cross in. They've come from different places, and it might be the same variety, but you're just crossing different boundaries too far. So yeah, it's not just what the fish look like in terms of quality, but you do need if you use 2 fish that haven't got good structure, all your offspring are going to have poor body structure.
Yeah, but you might have banging patterns on them.
You might have good patterns, and that makes it all right to sell when they're small. But as you grow them out, then they're no good.
Then they'll
yeah, it's all a balancing act, to be fair, and we're still learning with different. It's not necessarily our best or most expensive parent fish to produce the best offspring.
the best stuff.
It's getting the right, and we do a lot better with our own second generation fish. There's no doubt. Once we've got an established line and start using those offspring and knowing a lot more about their parents and their grandparents, then we can produce fish that A, suit our environment and develop well in our environment, and B, are just better qualities that we're looking for. So, yeah.
Now, I hope you were paying attention there, Daz, because a lot of those questions were to help this year. And the reason being is if you want to go down the lines of what you're doing, these are the bits that you want to know, aren't they? Really, this is where you somebody like Rick, but not so much save your years, because obviously you're still going to go through the process of finding which one, but your 1-to-1 ratio is what you need to be doing, as opposed to
it does make
banging
a
a few
difference.
in and seeing what they produce.
Female, yeah. Which I've been doing.
Better off, and as Rick said, separating the eggs out. You've got the eggs separate. Then putting different males with
Numerous
those
males,
eggs. You might be spreading that female's eggs across 3 ponds, but you got 3 males that can all produce different stuff.
Yeah, I think this year we'll have to look at hand spawning.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not difficult. It's just having the right fish available at the right time. Yeah. And again, that's why we have numerous spawning ponds and whatever, and we have batches of fish that. There might be a male in one pond that we want to go for a female in a different pond, but we don't mix everything. So, there's fish spawning, and the female in one pond spawning. We can take the eggs, split them, and take males from different ponds, do different things or different percentages. And it's knowing their genetics and what you're trying to achieve from it as well, because it's a lot of the jumbo lines are a lot harder to get decent fish from than some of the older bloodlines that you get a much higher hit rate of quality that just don't grow in the same manner. So if you want to sell lots of pretty smaller fish, then that's the road to go down. There's no point using massive jumbo, bloodline fish that produce one decent fish every 10,000 offspring.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to produce enough offspring to have any decent fish. So, yeah.
There we go,
it's tricky.
Any questions you want to stick on the questions of the questions after the question? It's just, this one bit about it, I really do think is interesting. And knowing now that Daz has got his bit going and Vicky's going to be doing a little bit, it's a little bit more that I can be able to get involved. I can't do it. I ain't got the room nor the space. I can do it vicariously through Daz and Vic and be there to see what it is that their stuff produces when they ever go out doing it themselves. Now, for me and Daz, we enjoyed going through the flock spawn. The flock spawn was quite surprising, mate, wasn't it? We did get some nice stuff out of that.
Interesting, yeah.
But as we always said, right from day one when we were doing them and we were grading them through as little stuff, what produced this?
Exactly.
No idea.
The thing is, you'll only get one or two special ones, and you think, I'd love to know what combination that was, but you've got no way of finding out.
So that's the bit we've got to. That's the bit we've got to work on, Daz. And you've got in your holding tanks where your fry nets, reduce the amount of fry that you're putting in there, spreading them across 4 ponds with separate holding ones in them. One male to another male to another male to one female, and then another female, 3 males to that, and then another one female. Pick your 3 females that you want to go from, and then spawn them across them, having 4 little holding nets in each one, and reduce the amount of fry that you've got in there. Because it's all right having 2,000 fry in one pool. The numbers in there are way too many. And if you can reduce, if you're better to bring on 200 in there and then separate them out into pools down at bottom in each one, and having smaller numbers producing better quality than mass numbers producing lower quality.
Well, we should have a lot more space this year. We've got, I think, 8 pools at the bottom now.
Yeah.
And
you can't have enough space.
Well, that's the thing. You start spawning more, don't you? Because you think you've got space, and then before you know it, you've run out of room again.
We should have enough room for 10 nets full of fry in the tunnel. So that gives us like 18 individual setups.
A question for both of you then, because I know you're both. Rick's done a hell of a lot more, but does it? A Toby is really a fish that has that growth gene in it, because they grow like stink. They do seem to leaps and bounds.
Shooter, yeah.
Now, is that technically a jumbo, or what will make a jumbo tosi? And is that a good stock to be breeding from when it grows that fast within its first year? Pushing.
In my experience, the Tobys tend to be pretty crap
looking. So the Tobys are just the evil buggers that go around nailing everything.
Greedy bastards, yeah.
What you'll find though,
the
is if you breed, if you do a spawning and the conditions are perfect, all the offspring will grow the same speed as that Toby. That Toby's fulfilling his potential. What you tend to find is you're given the fish an environment. You've got 1,000 fry in a tank, but you're only putting enough food in for half of them realistically.
Yeah.
So some aren't doing so well, and the one that does best eats the smallest ones.
Yeah.
Hence, you get a couple that absolutely fly. Realistically, when you grow them in an environment where you've given them the maximum amount of food for all of the fish every day, they don't split.
Everything grows at the same
Everything
rate.
grows
That
at
makes
speed.
perfect sense, yeah. I mean, last year,
to do that's impossible, nearly.
The year before, I had a lot of trouble with Tobies, and I'd see them all the time swimming around with the tail of another one and sticking out the mouth. But this summer just gone, I didn't have that at all. I didn't see one single Toby, and I think that's because of all the Daphnia. Yeah, it kept them well fed, and they weren't bothering each other.
There we go then. So that in itself's a bit more of an avenue we need to work down. Smaller numbers of fry, mass numbers of food, heat.
Heat is the key as well. Yeah,
it's all the key. Is to do it in enough numbers. So then, that's the problem you then start to face. If to do a big spawning, you might have 100,000 offspring, and you want to grow all of those fish up to the first cull, then you need such
Mass
copious
space.
amounts of live food.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. But that's where big lakes and big mud ponds can lend themselves when they're prepared right. All of those fish will grow evenly, and then you can have that opportunity. But if you do it like we did, and it ends up being a bit of a duffer, suddenly they've all done brilliantly, but they're just not much got for anything. So
Yeah.
Let's pick up on a couple of these because I did. Koi Boy's put in one quick question there. I just ordered free tosai from Bayer, which is Adam Bayer's koi farm. I'm just wondering what you guys think of them. Has anyone else on here bought koi from them before?
Yeah.
Daz has. I've got one. I've got one there.
Got two in
I've
the
got one
tank
with
here.
Yamabuki. Daz has got one in his tank there. He's got a Yamabuki from that Daz bought from him, and there's a Yamabuki in there, which is
They're Adam
that one
Bayer's.
there, right in corner now. So yeah, we've got some. I know lots of people that bought from him, mate, and I've seen.
Yeah.
Adam Bayer used to
keepers.
specialise in his kahaku, but I think what he's trying to do now, from the last time we went to his koi farm last year, he's moved into a sage, a chiba, metallics. He's even having a go at a bit of Yamato Nishikis, and he's developing and changing the farm into a different. If you want, feel free to check out the video that we did when we went down there. Adam did do a long chat and a long talk, introducing what he was doing at his farm and where he intends to be moving in the future and the different bloodlines that he's going for. So yeah, mate, 100%. Good food, good koi, good stock.
Yeah.
Lovely bloke as well. Really
We
nice
all
to talk
stood
to.
out again this season, didn't we? This summer.
Yeah,
And
well, I will
see
do
how
me,
he's
that's for
progressed.
definite. It was,
Yeah.
it was a good.
the
he's-
round tour, do them all. Do all of
Yeah,
us.
do them all. I'd love to do them all again. I really would. I've enjoyed every one that I've been to.
Yeah.
As much as we've. I mean, I will say it, Rick, and I know I'm not being. I had way more of a better time at yours because we got hands on.
Yeah.
At Cuttlebrook, we got behind the scenes. At Adam Byers, we got behind the scenes, and we got a long, lengthy conversation and a long chat with Adam, and he spent hours with us, absolutely hours. We did book a day there to be there, and we took a group of 20 down or so, did we?
Yeah, about
18 or 20.
18 or
And
20.
to be fair, I really enjoyed it. It was a great day, and it's
Yeah, me too.
well worth the visit to. I would say to any one of the koi farms that I've just mentioned, they're all well worth the visit. And I would say that even just as equally as much to the koi farm that we visited in Poland. Absolutely fantastic. I would like to do some more overseas as well, but that one's not as easy to do without the funding. But yeah, brilliant, mate. I wouldn't knock him at all. In fact, I personally think with the way things might be going in the very near future, I think a lot of people might be making use and more use out of the koi farms that are over here in the UK,
Yeah.
knowing that you get a good dealer, you get a good relationship with a client or a supplier like them, you know what you're getting. And
Well, this is it. I mean, you,
you
like,
can't say
you,
they're
Rick,
not quality because they are.
you've got your set brood fish that they've been there for quite a few years. You're not relying on stuff that's come straight from abroad. You don't know any of the background. This is the problem with the scrapping the KHV testing.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's why I think it might
That's
be more
down.
of a case as this year and up and coming years for yourself, Rick, and for others like yourselves, where this might be your figures start going up a little bit because people stick with what they know is going to be less risky. Not saying
To be
that,
honest,
you
though,
know,
the Jap stuff is they're so regulated over there.
Yeah, but I'm talking more the Sri Lanka and these other places.
I'm not pointing fingers and saying that stock that's coming in isn't right. I know a lot of places that are bringing in any stock from wherever they are going through all the correct procedures to heat ramp them and check them and do it, and I would imagine they will all continue to do so. But I do see as that it's more of a risk in it. There's more of a risk element with the KHV crap being as it has. But
I think everything's got its place in it, but the reality is that the English farms should be able to supply the grassroots people up to a certain point.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the problem lies in the fact that we might produce 50 koi a year that are worthy of, a good status.
So quality.
And if you say Cuttlebrook and Adam do the same out of their 250,000 fish, whatever they're doing, you might have 150 fish that are of what you might call a top level.
Yeah.
But the
Japanese amount of people want that doesn't fit the market, so you've got to still then bring in another 2,500 from Japan of that level to fulfill the market.
But at the same time, though, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for good quality looking pond fish,
but that's where we come in.
That's where I see
it. Exactly. That's where I see ourselves.
Realistically, that's probably the bulk of the market, I would have thought.
Yeah, because the amount of people that want to spend £1,000 upwards per fish is quite.
I'm going to go to someone precise that they want that fish from out there, and that would be a specialist dealer from perhaps maybe Japan or wherever.
Yeah,
but that's where the main market is those sort of cheaper stuff. So, in my eyes, if the English farms can fulfil that sort of bottom market, so you don't have to bring in cheap fish from Sri Lanka, Thailand, wherever, and then you just obviously the top end of the market is always going to be coming from Japan because they're the only ones producing enough fish at that level. Then you've got you sort of sustain your market, and I don't know. That's what just grudges me. Some of the stuff that comes from some of the Far Eastern countries that are absolute rubbish. That it's just because it's cheap, and and that's the danger. Other than that, everything has its kind of place. The stuff from Poland, they do some nice stuff, but it's quite specific. Some of the Deutsch stuff they do is as good as from Japan. And if you went to, and I do feel that ourselves and Cuttlebrook and Adam will all start finding varieties that suit what we do, and they'll be producing Jap level fish, Tagoi, Asagi, maybe at Adams, and whatever's we're doing, and we'll end up like you go to Japan. You don't go to one farm for everything.
Exactly. You specify in one particular type or a couple of particular types, don't you?
So it always changes
with each other.
Which means there's a market, there's an opening market there, guys, for somebody else to open up a couple more koi farms, one preferably in the Huddersfield area, so I can quit the job and come work there.
Squash tomato specialist.
Yeah, that's what we want. Somebody that'll produce banging squash tomatoes.
If you imagine an average, not a top end koi keeper, but not a beginner, but somewhere in the middle that knows a bit, and they want 30 fish in their pond, but they want a good golden corn, a good kiyetsuri, a good platinum, a good. You can't source all of those fish from one place.
No.
So you've got to then be thinking, well, where's the safest way I can get all of those fish? And if you can get half of them from the English farms, and then half of them from Japan, you might not get. So you've got to be. Yeah, it's just the way the business should works. You don't fight each other. You say, well, we're doing this, and this is kind of our bread and butter. And do this, that, and you go there for that, and it's so difficult to do everything.
This year now, we're having some stuff from yourself, Rick, in my pond. I can see a noticeable difference between stuff that I've got in my pond that's from Japan and stuff that's from the UK. The fish from the UK are still swimming around, whereas the ones from Japan are a little bit uggled down. But yours, the ones that all five, they're all swimming around, cruising around everywhere. You think but eventually it gets to a temperature where you can see them go and settle down, and get in with the rest of the group. But they are certainly they certainly go to a cooler temperature before they do. And getting up first thing in the morning, pitch black,
isn't it? As much as anything.
Yeah. The more used to the climate.
As those fish all get older, your Jap ones, and they'll all just start becoming the same.
Yeah.
But it's that the first winter they go through, any fish that's never been cold, which is basically anything coming from Japan, and anything that we've had under heat, or let's not be around the bush. Everyone's going to keep their best stuff in conditions that are going to make sure they survive. So my best shower from this year are under heated conditions, because if I leave them out in the cold, they're going to be dying. So the stuff from Japan's heated, and so those fish won't tolerate going out to your pond in the cold you know, if you bought some of my little showers, they're going to be no better than the stuff coming from Japan because they've never seen cold. That's
You see, the Shurut Sura, mate, I swear to God, that thing's, that's bred like a totally different fish to any other fish in my pond. He's steaming around pond, flying up and down, still doing laps. Everybody else is like that. God damn, it's cold. And he's like that. Ooh, what's
but
going on?
that fish has already been through a couple of winters, isn't it? So
Yeah, and you can tell the difference, mate. You really can see the
not
difference in
bothered.
him. Yeah, you're not
no
bothered
lid
at
on
all.
it yet. You might as well feed him.
Well, I have, as silly as it sounds, I've thrown that individual fish just a few pellets, and he's come up and fed on his own, and then gone back down. Like, there you go, have that then.
But yeah,
Crazy
it's
to be able to see
acclimatization, isn't it? So at the end of the day, you're not gonna, if you're gonna go and spend 10 grand on each of your fish from Japan, top end fish, you're not gonna dump them in an unheated pond in this country and let them go through a winter.
Everything has its proper
Niche.
avenue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
How it
guys,
is.
that was
Sidetrack.
nearly an hour of me and us three nattering because of a couple of questions. I did have a couple more, but I forgot them. God damn it. They'll come back to me. Let's see if anybody else has banged anything through, because we have got some topics to talk about this evening. First one that we've come to there, and I will say hello to everybody that has joined us and come in a little bit later. Thanks very much for joining us, everybody. There are some questions coming up that I want to get through and get as many as I can. Can parasites survive out water, and if so, for how long?
Broad spectrum. You get parasites like flukes that are pretty tough, which are quite big, multicellular, parasites. But Argillus is probably the almost most indestructible one.
Leeches are pretty damn tough, aren't they?
But yeah, realistically, any parasite's not going to survive out of water if it's dried out.
Yeah, ciliate parasites, they'll dry out pretty quick, won't they?
If you got a load of weed from somewhere that's wet, then leeches and Argillus and whatever will survive on it days, weeks.
Leeches will last for weeks, under wet plant material.
A question to add to that then, on top of it. You know how they say that, birds can carry fish eggs from one water source to another? Waterfowl, can they carry parasites from one place to another, one source to another?
Yeah, that's the thing. Part of some flukes life cycle will go through from the fish to the bird. They poo in the water, back to snails to fish, and that's part of a life cycle, but not something that's not an everyday occurrence in your koi. Most parasites in your koi pond are coming with new koi coming in, or it's existing in your pond that you're not dealing with, and it builds up.
Yeah.
Very rarely is it your neighbour throwing something over the fence, or the heron visited, or whatever. But yeah, there is the potential. Flukes are probably the most notorious one that can pass seagull and heron shit into your pond.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's much more simple, and it's either existing in your pond until conditions make it go boom, or you've introduced it with someone else, or caused a stress reaction in the pond that's caused it. Because they will live. Your fish will guarantee your fish will have a few parasites, be it Costia, be it whatever, Trichodina, sitting there, and they'll be happy as Larry. And it's not until you catch them fish up and decide to take them to a show or something and stress them that suddenly, boom, out it comes.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's not a major concern. Parasites living out of water, really, unless you're moving live food or plants from one source to another.
Yeah.
All right, next one then. Claude's asking, should I add a heater to my indoor tank from a single fry rescued from my pond this summer? If you want it to grow, mate. I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 fry in there, and they were all 7 cm. So they were all that big in length from my thumb to end. And now they've been in there 6 weeks this Sunday, and the biggest one now is almost that big from the end of the ruler to which is pushing up. He's 13.5 cm. So he's growing on average a cm a week. Just.
But to put a heater in for your one single fry
Go on, do it. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
You can buy a small little cheap
Add
heater.
some more fry to your one single fry, and it makes it worthwhile.
It will make it grow. It will grow a heck of a lot faster. And I know that you've said this so many times, Rick. But until you see it with your own eyes, I know seeing is believing. But to see they never stop eating.
No.
Never stop continuously. If I'm not feeding, they're grubbing around in the gravel, looking for some food. They don't stop. You could literally keep throwing, and I could throw a lot in, and they eat the lot in no time, in minutes. And you think, Jesus Christ, that's 6 frozen blocks of frozen food, and within 30, 40 seconds, the lot's gone. The lemon Harawaki can eat a whole bloodworm block and a mysis block in one mouthful, near enough.
Yeah.
Gone. And that surprised me. I was gobsmacked. So yeah, it will grow a heck of a lot more, mate, if you do. But ambient temperatures in your house should hold your tank roughly around, depending on which room it's in, but it should hold it roughly around 16 to 18 degrees, depending on the temperature of your house. The water should eventually find its natural balance. If you want to get it up into the growth sort of sizes or temperature range, 21 to 24 or 26 to, in fact, Rick said the other day, 30 degrees, and they'll grow even more. So, yeah, I were kind of shitting myself thinking, are they going to be all right at tropical conditions, temperatures, and lowered mine down to 24? But I have turned mine back up to 27. So
I'm putting a kettle element in mine, guys.
that does, you might end up with boiled fish then, I think. But yeah, mine are comfortable at 27 degrees. When the heating's on in here now, I think that's pushing close to 29. So yeah, it's warm.
That gaming rig will heat them up for sure.
Yeah, my legs are definitely warm, does here. It's that heater's on in front of radiator, and I can feel heat coming from my left leg and heat on my right leg from radiator. So it's definitely, it does make a massive difference.
I can't believe no one started doing that yet. Was it that bit mining or whatever they do that creates all the heat?
Oh mate,
your fish tanks in there so you can mine your currency.
They do throw off some serious heat as well.
Crypto, they're trying to cool them down, aren't they?
I can feel I've sat outside of my PC when I've been gaming on it all day long, and my leg has been red at the side of it with the heat that it's kicking out outside from side of vent. So yeah, they do put out some heat. And you imagine that's just from one graphics card, one processor. If you've got a bank of graphics cards with like 100 or 200 of them when they're mining on them, then yeah, mate, that's some serious heat, and again, a serious risk factor for fires and everything else. So they've got to keep them cool, but the rooms become really, really warm.
Yeah.
So yeah, go for it, mate. See what it becomes. Why not?
Yeah.
You can get a small little heater for a small little tank. The smaller the heater, the more it'll be on, the more it'll cost. The bigger the heater, the more it will cost in the initial layout, but the less often it'll be on. So food for thought, mate.
What heater have you got on yours, Gaz? Just as a matter of interest.
I think that one's a 60 watt. I think. But again, that's the difference with it being in here through the day with the conservatory. It gets warm in here. It's the night time where that heat will probably come on the most, when the sun's gone down and it's cooler in here. So yeah, it's on now, but it'll only stay on for a few minutes and then it'll go off. Yeah. Once it finds that balance, then they normally just come on, keep maintaining at that temperature. It's like that thing in it. Which is the best to do? Is it better to put your heating on and warm your house up from cold, or keep your heating on at 17, 18 degrees and let it stay on there with a thermostat and just kick in to keep it there? I don't know. Whichever works out the cheapest. I've never... I always just flick it off when we can't be arsed with it anymore. So when the house gets too hot, switch it off. Rick, what would you say is the best koi to hand spawn, or are they all the same? Is there any easier than others?
They're all basically the same.
I suppose when they're all sedated, do you sedate to do your spawning?
Yeah. So
so
we let them, obviously, we put them in an environment where they naturally want to spawn, and as soon as they do start spawning, which is why we have to stay all night or multiple nights. So you watch them. The minute they ovulate, so the minute they start spawning, you anaesthetize them and you can just strip all their eggs out in 30 seconds. So you can split, you can do whatever you want to do. And and then obviously do whatever with the males, anaesthetize them, take the milk from the males.
And Rick, do you have to get every single egg out?
No, we don't. We don't strip all the eggs out. Basically, we'll take what we want from a female and put them back, and they can naturally carry on spawning. And even if you did take, they still go through that motion of 3 or 4 hours.
But will they still release without a male then?
They will still, but we have males in there with them anyway. Just because.
So is that like a free-for-all pool that you might just see what happens with them?
No, because they're still that's got to be stripped out for the next round of spawning. So it is the males are in there to encourage them to start spawning, and obviously once they start spawning, we'll take the female out, take as many eggs as we want, and it'll get put back. And there might be 3 or 4 females in the pond with a whole load of males. That's just the ponds how they are. Some might be used together, some might not. But it's if you haven't got the males in there, you're not going to encourage the spawning activity anyway. So you want them in there, but you just got to monitor them. So you've once they start, you can take the female out that's laying eggs, take the eggs out the amount you want, split as many ways as you want, take the males you want, and obviously if the males are in that environment, then they're obviously going to be producing plenty of milk because they're in the hormones just go crazy. So by giving them that, the change of temperature, the spawning ropes, the change of water clarity, the introduction of males, all those different environmental things we do to trigger them into spawning, naturally creates that spawning environment. And 9 out of 10 females spawn within 48 hours. You just give them all the right triggers when you want to, and then remove them and deal with it.
Is the truth to the bit then, right? Separating the males away from the females to starve them away from each other a little bit until coming up ready for spawning season, and then introducing them to kick all that into one, or do you just leave them male and females together throughout?
We tend to I normally move the males the day before if I can. So if I've got the spawning vats ready, so I've got 3 spawning vats ready, temperatures are good, I'll shock the males in a day before. So when I say shock, they'll be moved from 15 to 20 degrees. So they get a temperature shock, they go in with all the ropes and whatever, but no females. And then when I'm ready, they start mooching around. They basically chase each other, thinking, come on, what's going on here? And then you drop a female in there, and they're chasing around. Straight on. The encouragement of them, and it seems to take a bit longer. So the males take a bit longer sometimes to produce the milk. So by going in the day before, their milk's almost ready. So then when you drop the female in, they just, they encourage her with their manly ways.
Charms.
And they'll go through that process, and they've actually, what do we do? 30 females a year. Maybe we might have 1 spawn in the day. The rest are all between midnight and first light
in the morning.
There's a very narrow window when they'll go for it, and once they start, there's no stopping. That's basically they ovulate, so you can then just take the female, do what you want to do. But a female of 60 centimeters is a lot easier to handle than a 80 centimeter fish on your own.
I'd imagine that a large fish of that size is not the easiest to be. I mean, it's a weight size. So there you go, Daz. See, you don't have to worry about getting all that. I knew these questions. We've been talking about this.
Can you tell?
We've been talking about this because Daz is worried to have a go, but kind of we're not knowing. So keeping the males separate.
Yeah.
And then the day before, shock the males into a warmer temperature.
No, we don't keep them separate, so they all live together. They're all together, but then we keep them temperatures. Shock. Yeah, so we keep them at temperatures that are lower than spawning temperatures, and then we'll move the males first. Because the last thing you do, if you move a female and she spawns and the males aren't ready, you're screwed.
That'd be easy to do though, Gaz, because you keep all the males outside and then put them in the tunnel, which will naturally be
the warmer step up
to 8 degrees warmer, and that should
then bring the females in when they're all going when they've all been to bar and had a few pints and we're like, lads, we're out full. Bring females down, chuck them in. Jobs good.
Yeah.
And you can so we'll move because we're going to stay with them. We tend to move maybe 9 females in at the same time, 3 to each pond, because we're going to be there for 48 hours constant. So we can then pick and choose as they spawn. So you have your main Sankey and your backup Sankey, your main whatever you're doing. So you've got options, because you've got to have options, because you'll find that a male won't produce milk, and if you haven't got a backup male,
it's wasted, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's sleeping bags and camp beds required as well, then, isn't there? So,
beer, yes.
And beer, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not say it's normally that window between midnight and 5 in the morning is your main spawning window. So it's torchlight. It's So Vince has got the video. I've got Vince out a couple of times, and we've got videos, and it all gets once it all just kicks off, because the first one goes, it tends to just start triggering everything, and then next thing you know,
it's almost like they hear the splashing, isn't it? And they all want to join in.
Yeah, it does trigger them, and their whole behaviour changes. The males you can quite often catch by hand. Literally, you just splash in the edge, and they'll just come, and you can pick them out, knock them out. They're just loopy. Not quite that.
At what age and size is best for breeding a female koi then? ANC's question.
We tend to find if they're our own fish, as sounds so normally 3-year-olds you can normally spawn,
viable,
but the first spawning tends to be pretty poor. So we'll spawn a fish just to get it done, so we know the next year you should produce more eggs, more viable eggs, and then that's that 4th year is probably our 4 or 5 years is probably the magic windows. Males, 18 months, 2 years old, if they've been under some kind of heat, they're up for it. But obviously, using fish that are too small, you don't know what they're genetically going to do. So they might be really good fish, they might have good bone structure, and you might think they're amazing. And you use them early, and you find 2 years later that fish actually didn't grow at all.
Yeah, it got to 40 centimetres.
Yeah, it had great bone structure, but it still wouldn't grow or whatever. So ideally, you'd use fish that are presenting what you want in terms of size and structure and qualities. But sometimes we buy new fish that are young, and you think, well, I really want to get that blood into something, so you can do them earlier. The males, not such a problem, but you don't know what they're going to truly become because they're so young, and you can get a bit fooled. That fish looks amazing at 2 years old, I really want that, and then that male 3 or 4 years later on the farm is still 40 centimetres long, and you wouldn't dream of using it again. Again, part and parcel.
Life around the koi pond spot there. I appreciate fry grow on ones, but it's not my thing. I just love watching the fish I have. See, that's the thing, mate. That's exactly what I liked about having koi initially, until I met Daz, and I got to see what other bits were involved, and then I went to a few farms, and you think, man, this is mint. Trying to see what this producer, that producer, then watching. Honestly, when we've seen stuff from Daz's, and we've pulled out tiny little fryer, then gone, oh, look at a little pattern on that. And then now seeing it at this sort of size, thinking, look at that. And we found that, we picked that, we pulled that to one side, we put, let's see what it does.
And very often, Gaz,
me, Mick and Daz, when we were going through them or grading them all, we found some lovely little fish, didn't we?
Yeah.
And to see them from and recognise them from that sort of size through to this sort of size, it's, I don't know, there's a little bit something more to it, mate, as well. Yeah. But each to their own, mate. That's what.
And those ones that you notice when they're tiny, and there's something about them, they normally do turn out to be good fish.
Yeah, a few of them have, haven't there? Some of them that we've thought, oh, this looks banging, and it gets right up to about maybe 6 inch, and then
you get shimmies or something. You think,
and then it just turns to shit. And you're like, bastard, that was such a nice fish. But that's the fun of it, though. It's seeing what happens and what develops from it. I quite enjoy it, mate. I really do.
I love it. That's the interesting part for me.
And we've got a reminder here. Don't forget Jack's koi farm. Technically, Jack's is not a koi farm because he doesn't produce his own koi. Yet. But yet. I'm saying yet
He's
because
got plans
he
to do
has
it.
said he is going to be doing it, and he is planning to be doing it, and he is planning to be doing his own spawns. But as of yet, up to press, it's an importer exporter, isn't it? He buys him, or he brings in fish and he sells them. And when he does do what he's doing, I know he's doing because we spoke about it over a week, and he did have come on the Sunday night, the Sunday afternoon from the koi shed, and he did say that that's what he was going to be doing. So yeah, you're right, mate. There is Jack's.
It's a lot of infrastructure to set up for him though, for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
there's no
as
point
he said
looking into it until you're
himself,
ready.
Daz,
Yeah.
as he said himself, didn't it? I expect to be at this stage for this year, that year, and realistically now looking at it, he's putting maybe a couple more years till he's going to be where he wants to be, and the process is a longer avenue than what he expected. And that's, that's hindsight's a wonderful thing. You can't always see it to be exactly how you want it to be, and stuff takes longer to get it and do it right. So I mean, good luck to him and all the very best to him. And I know he'll get there, just not till he's finished and completed.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, he's got to finance it because it's his main wage earner, isn't it? So he's got to sell fish to
Exactly.
be able to
You
do
can't
all
just you can't just go out there, buy all that stuff, all that equipment, dig all those ponds, lay it all out, loads of expense, start breeding fish, and then think, right, well, my fish aren't brilliant. They're not producing. They're going through all these stages that Rick's doing, process of what fish produces the best, blah, 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 blah. So you've got to have a sourceable income coming through from the beginning, where he imports fish and sells them on, and that's the process that he's going through. So, yeah. You're right, mate. Jack's farm as well.
Yeah, there's a few other smaller farms about as well, isn't there? There's a lot of people do it.
You try and look for them. I don't know. I can't. I've tried Googling koi farms in UK, and there's not many that are out there. If they're out there, they're not advertising like you three men dudes are. Guys.
Yeah, but I suppose the difference. There's three of us doing it as a professional livelihood. And then you've got other people, like Daz himself. Daz is producing fish, and if I went and searched Daz's koi farm in Google, I might get hits on YouTube, but there's no address to go.
That's the only link you'd get to it via me. Yeah.
So, but that builds, doesn't it? As he produces more fish and becomes actually, I'm going to retire, and this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at some point, you need, and that's the difficult bit, to go from a farm to having a retail facility. Because you then need a person who works full-time at a retail facility.
Yeah.
So who's going to run the farm? You're going to end up being a shopkeeper rather than that. Yeah.
And that can spoil the fun for you to a degree.
Once you turn something from that hobbyist bit into a business, a lot of that enjoyment then suddenly it's a fine line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's just one of those.
Depends on the pressure you put yourself under as well. If you put yourself under a lot of pressure to produce, then you're not going to like it pretty quick.
No.
Yeah, you can soon get yourself bogged down with it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those. Adam had a full-time job up until a couple of years ago, so the koi farm was separate. He made his money doing his job. The koi farm was his enjoyment. The last few years, he stepped up into, this is going to make my money. He's obviously got some of the infrastructure there, but he's worked out whether it can or it can't, and he's decided it can, and that's where he's going down. But then suddenly the pressure hits you that you have a couple of bad years because if ponds go wrong, a health problem, something happens.
Yeah,
it's not so much fun, is it? Because
it's into a nightmare pretty quick, I imagine.
Again, I will refer back to that video that we did when we were down there. He does touch on all that and says. He lays everything out, man. Proper full open book. Both. There you go. This is what I did. This is how I started. He pretty much started as Daz is, doing what Daz is doing now. Having a bit of fun, breeding stuff, then got some good stock coming from it, and then moved on. And like you say, eventually packed in full time doing what you were doing for a living. But when you were doing it full time for a living, you were working all day and coming and working all night, doing the stuff with a koi. And then up again and rinse and repeat to the point where he got to a position where it could be viable enough for him to make an income from it. But pretty interesting, wasn't it, Daz?
It was,
We're good. But there's hang about, have I missed another one? Koi farm, one in Scotland, please. Eric says there. I agree, mate. That would be nice. Oh, what's this one? I missed. What did I miss? That one there. Tamasaba farm gas. Yeah, I could do that. Could make one of them. Tamasaba farm in my garden. Do it on a small scale. I like them, mate.
I do.
We should try a farm in Yorkshire gas. We should, mate. I'd love to do it. Sack my job off tomorrow. I really would. To work.
I want a twin farm somewhere in the south of France.
That sounds good. I'm happy to move to south of France. Yeah, sweet.
This
I'm
time
down
of year
for
we
that
could
too.
just
Warm all the
disappear.
time, isn't it? A lot nicer weather as well. Apart from winters are a bit harsh too. That's South France, aren't they? But yeah.
Yeah, they do get it cold. Yeah, not for long though.
No, Simon. No, is not. God's country is Yorkshire. Always has been and always will be. God built the rest of the world and then he built Yorkshire. Or was it he built Yorkshire then he built the rest of the world? That's the stupid saying that there's some saying about it, something like that. But no, Jack's farm's not in God's country. God's country is Yorkshire, mate. The saying. I'm not saying that. I don't believe in the fella. That might get me.
You could just manage to upset everyone in one. Didn't
Yes. Sorry. Why not? But it's a lot of the main koi farms are down south, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, again though, it's a better clay-rich soils and a warmer environment than up north, for example. Scotland.
Not warm enough.
But it's warmer, but not warm enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus Watson says, question, I'm moving house in 3 weeks. And if anybody wants to do it that way, by putting question beforehand in the capital letters, that's cool because it stands out too. Because I know there's a lot of people that think, how do I type on my mobile phone full capitals? If you tap on the key for capitals twice, it will make your whole sentence in capital letters, just in case you didn't know.
I didn't realise.
I'm moving house in 3 weeks. My fund has been dismantled. Sorry, I'm not laughing at Marcus, I'm laughing at Daz with that. I didn't know that. Yeah, it does. Double tap the cap key and it will make your whole, every word that letter that you type in capital letters.
Shout
I'm
at
moving house.
everyone then.
What?
You shout at everyone then, don't you? Every time
Yeah,
you text.
I tend to do it a lot though, to be fair. I don't mean shout at everyone, I mean double caps it and end up putting it all in. And then you think, God damn it, I've just literally, then soz caps follows it. I'm moving house in 3 weeks. Pond has been dismantled and fish are in a temporary pool. Any tips on when I move to keep it as stress-free as possible, keeping in mind it's going to be cold? Colder temperatures make going into a colder pond is less stressful for fish.
Yeah.
Our fish are moved far easier in colder water than they are in warmer water, as Rick has mentioned to us before. So less stressful than what you would think, mate. Everybody would believe that warmer times of the year would be better for moving fish, but actually it's more risky and worse. So
Yeah, as long as it's not
Fish
too
will be-
cold.
yeah.
Then yeah, just don't feed your fish, or see if it's cold you're not feeding them, and be organised in the pond at the other end. Make sure it's all operational when you're moving them. Yeah, if you've got a local dealer, they'll gas the fish for you with oxygen if need be, if you're travelling any length of time. But to be honest, if your water temperature's 6 degrees and you put one fish to a bag, it'll probably survive about 48 hours with no oxygen. Literally, they are. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's only a problem when it's warmer. So
That bit. The other one being trying to keep your parameters in your pond as close to the parameters of the pond they've come from. pH, you don't want no big pH swings or jumps or changes. And keep an eye on, obviously, when your new pond that you're moving them to is not going to be matured. If you can transport some of the water from A to B, that would be more ideally suited because you'd be seeding it sort of, so to speak, and less of a shock for them. But your parameters, pH, for example, wants to be equally the same as what they're going from to. That makes sense.
if you can move all the filtration across, so if that all gets moved, and if your fish are under salt in the temporary tank, make sure the salt's the same where they're going. Just basics, isn't it?
Yeah.
But be prepared to when you're going to move, and just be all ready to do it, so that you're just doing that as a separate thing. Catch the fish, bag them, boxes, whatever, to the new place, and they just won't. You just won't. They will not bother. They should be absolutely fine. Best time to do it.
Next, we have lots of questions this evening, and we've got quite a lot of topics to talk about. Well, not loads, but we've got a fair few. How long do stripped eggs remain viable if not fertilised?
What's your guess, Gaz?
I'm going to say it's over 48 hours.
Yeah, I'd say 2 to 3 days, something like that.
No.
No?
Yeah, they go bad much quicker than that.
Oh, do they?
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
basically, you've probably got realistically probably about 6 hours.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But obviously, if you're going to strip, so the eggs, if they can't come in contact with water, so they've got to be stripped into a vessel that's watertight, but it's got some air. So yeah, we've done it for other places we'll
Sort of
strip the
flask.
eggs. Yeah, we just use fish bags. There's so much complicated shit you see on all these videos of bowls, and you got to sterilize this and do that. A fish bag, you can strip eggs into it; they don't stick to it. You've just got You've just got your bag. You can put some milk in it from whichever milk. It's so simple, and you can put the milk. So we supply the people, so we can do these eggs with this male, these eggs with this male, these eggs with this male. Here's your bags. Off you go, and they can go and fertilise them themselves. Do what they want to do with them. It's not a problem. And until the water touches the milk and the eggs, nothing's happening. They're just.
How long have you got there? And I know when Mark Gardner did his, now he did make that one particular video, that did seem like rocket science kind of thing. Like a bowl with this, so it was like everything was like science clean, make sure you don't touch this, don't do that, don't do the other. But I think he wanted to get it across as textbook as he could show it in that sense.
What was the milk what was the point with the milk he mixed with them?
I believe it stops
he
the
was
eggs
trying to
binding together.
He was trying to do the de-sticking. So basically, with carp eggs, you can put the milk with them, you can put the eggs, nothing happens until you introduce water, which basically makes the milk active, and the eggs begin to swell up and they go sticky. So you've got like 30 seconds before they stick in a big clump.
Shit.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask how fast, but that's not.
What you can do is you make something called Ringer solution, which is basically a salt solution that mimics the ovarian fluid. So it triggers the milk, but stops the eggs going sticky. So you can fertilise them in a bowl and mix them with a spoon or a feather. So you've got your bowl of eggs, and they can be fertilised and swell up without sticking. And then you can put them in the jars that you'll see on carp farms in like Europe and Eastern
tumbling
Europe.
around with
So they roll round, and you can do it that way. It is so much ball ache for. You can put the milk in with the eggs, and then you can take them to a hatchery or wherever and put them onto a media where they'll fertilise and stick naturally.
Yeah, you use like trays, don't you?
Away. Yeah, I can do 6 different females with 12 different males in 4 hours. It's just no time at all in there, done, and they're safe. There's no tweaking of this amount of water or this amount of that, or it looks nice in a Zuga jar with 100,000 eggs bubbling round and whatever.
Yeah, like a lava lamp.
Such a it's unnecessary for. And if you watch most of the Japanese breeders now, they do it basically like we do it. They'll anaesthetize the fish, strip the eggs into a bowl, put the milk in, and then just pour them onto spawning ropes. And
see, that's the way I would have thought it would have been. If they become sticky in 30 seconds and they're dropping into the thing, they're pretty much going to be, as they're sinking down, becoming sticky and settling on your spawn ropes.
And they spawn. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the way to do it. That's.
Yeah.
But there is one. The way you do it, Daz, the problem is those sort of paddling pools and whatever, the eggs won't stick to them. So you tend to find if you have a spawn in one of them, you've got 10% of your eggs on the ropes and 90% of your eggs on the bottom in a big heap. Turning bottom.
And then they go mouldy quick. Yeah, and it just spreads through the whole lot.
Yeah.
You need to do these things that he has, these special little trays that he puts them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to back watch the video.
We need to go on a rob, don't we? Straight down.
There's easier ways of doing
these,
it.
Rick.
I've had good success putting them on scaffold nets. You know, the shade netting.
Yeah, we use honestly, it's the same as filter media. Anything that creates a surface area. We use onion. My main
You
ones
get
like the
water flow
wood
through
bag,
the net.
like the bags you put chopped wood in, onion bags, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a tray, one load of eggs. Next one, eggs. Next one, eggs, and they just layer up. And the milk and the eggs sink together, so they layer on the bottom. And you can just layer up. You do 100,000 eggs in 5 minutes. Done. It's so simple.
And then that keeps them all off the bottom where they all stack up and
You just transfer those into the pond. After 2 or 3 minutes, they're fertilized. They're already done their thing, and you can just move them into a pond then, wherever you want them.
How long can you pick them up once they're fertilized? How long can you got to pick them up? Like, for example, if you were taking them from one of your polytunnels to put where you've done your spawning, how long can you have them out of water moving them? Are you all right for a couple of minutes?
We don't put them. So we'll strip the eggs in the milk. Then we take that, disinfect ourselves, and we're taking a sterile product somewhere else. So we're going somewhere different with it, and then we'll do all the other stuff in the hatchery as a separate thing. So you're breaking that transfer from parents to offspring, and then I've got as much time in the world. I've got 6 hours if I want to go and have a cup of tea before I fertilise the eggs, do whatever, put them in the trays. It seems weird. People say, "Oh, why are you doing it in a tray?" Well, because you're concentrating all the milk and the eggs into a few litres of water, so you're getting literally 100% fertilisation rate.
Yeah.
And then I can put layer upon layer upon layer, and then 2 minutes later they're already fertilised. I can then take those bags and put them in their fry ponds. I think, well, I'll put 10 bags in there, 10 bags over there. I can take 10 bags over there. I can do whatever I like with them. It's done. There's no, they're fertilised, they're separate. There's no need for antifungal treatment. There's no need for anything.
Nothing blue.
Blue and all that kind of, sweet.
So that's how we do it. And it seems to be the way that they're doing it in a lot of other places now, because it's so simple. It just works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hang about. We've got here Thomas Abbers.
Oh, Vince.
Good evening, Mr. Tate. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
You know, Alan.
Where we got the number one here, Thomas Abbers, dog shit. They're lovely.
Yes.
If you can like a butterfly koi, Dino, you can like a Thomas Abber. They're just the same, chalk and cheese. The Garden of Eden, Gilver. God damn, do you not know you're a geographer? Yorkshire, mate, God's country. It's literally says it on the sign.
Is that all you need? A sign?
Dear me. Oh, right. Do we have any more? Top Jagger. Rick, when will your boxes of 3 or 4s come available on site? As in on the website?
It should be on there, to be fair. I don't know. I blame Carl.
Pass the book. Sorry. That one does make me giggle, that Top Jagger. Belting name, that, mate.
Just phone the shop to discuss what you want, because we've got loads, but it depends on what you want as to whether we got it now.
There we go. Oh, here
ask
we
for
go.
Carl. Just ask for Carl.
And just say, Rick said it was your fault if it's not there.
Possibly.
Have we got any more? Brian Clover says, question for Rick: will English fish grow as big as Japan fish? And we'll say Japan fish, then nobody thinks we're being.
That's kind of a strange. Yes, they will, but the environment is 50% of what a koi will be. So the genetics, you can't grow a massive fish without genetics, and you can't grow a massive fish without the environment. So I can use momentary parents that are capable of growing, the offspring are capable of growing a metre. The best ones with the best bone structure could do a metre, but they won't do a metre unless you give them that insane environment for it is to grow big fish. Up to 60 centimeters is easy. You could do that in 24 months if you wanted to. Beyond that, the space and the it's just mad, absolutely mad, you know. And obviously, Krashigo and Chago are easier to do it with. But yeah, where a fish comes from, you could buy a fish if the genetics are right from Poland, from us, Cuttleborough. It doesn't matter if the genetics are right to do it, and the environment's right to do it. Yeah, of course you can grow it massive, but putting the money in to grow fish big is, for us, it doesn't work for us, to be fair. Because you get if we're gonna grow a Sankey to 90 centimeters, it's going to cost us $1,000. And I'm not going to sell that fish at a profit, realistically, because it's an English fish. So it's one of them, isn't it? Yeah, it's doable, but it does cost some money.
Yeah, you can end up using a big fish tank, very big.
Yeah, that's the thing. To grow a fish to 60 centimeters is so easy, so quick. It's not a problem, but. Yeah, those farms in Japan that do the big fish, you see the mud ponds they use, and they'll put 100 fish into an acre mud pond, and we'll be putting 1,000 fish in there just to make ends meet because of what we're selling the fish for, the level of the fish, and all the rest of it. It's But to be fair, Mike, you make koi, you see what he's doing, and the size of the ponds he's growing his 100 fish in or whatever, and it's just different level, but all of those fish have got to be of a high-end value and being sold at the top end of that high-end value.
Yeah.
To cover all the costs involved. Yeah. But yeah, there is no difference between, you know, the genetics of a fish and the genetics of a fish. It's the environmental factors that are the biggest drawback for most farms, for most places, isn't it? And it's the big farms that have got the money and the kudos to do the big fish that do them. Because, big koi they're amazing, but
expensive to produce.
Yeah, you can have your pond and grow one or two, but yeah, if you actually worked out the costs, and I'd love someone to actually be honest and sit down and say, well, this fish cost me £3,000 as a Sanzai, and I've had it in this heated pond, and I fed it Sakai Hikari for 5 years and used this amount of water and this.
10 grand.
You know, yeah. And you're still, it's a 10 grand fish now that I'm going to. Is it worth 10 grand the day it starts to go over? Probably not, but it's yeah. I'd love to do it.
Yeah,
it would be as an interest thing, a hobby thing. It's not a business thing, because you just, you know, the day I've got 10 metre long Sankey that I want 10 grand each for, who's going to pay an English farm that? Well, they're English.
Yeah.
250 quid, mate. That's the reality of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the same old. And there's an element to it which is like the designer fish. As a designer clothes, flash cars, expensive labels. There is some element of Japanese breeders follow or carry that weight and that clout because of the stuff they produce, the shows they've won, and everything else like that. There is a little bit of it.
And they should do as well, though, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not meaning it's a bad thing, but that's the difference in it. The years and years and years and years ahead. In 30, 40 years' time, Rick, your farm might be where they are now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know you disagree, but you might think it's slightly longer. But
it's not so much longer. It's a different way of.
Yeah. I mean,
business.
they can produce better because they've got the better environment conditions, aren't they? And everything is pretty much perfect out there.
No, I know.
Heat-wise, temperatures.
It's not. They can put the so say Dainichi can put the money in because they've done the legwork. They are the top farm on the planet. So if I produced a fish exactly the same,
they are the masters of it, aren't they?
Yeah, but if I produced a fish from some of their offspring, so we had 2 equal showers at 4 years old at 75 centimeters, and they are absolutely equal in anyone's eyes. The Dainichi show is going to sell for 5 times more than my fish.
Yeah, because
it's Dainichi.
Because it's tiny each, yeah, exactly. It's
But they've done the legwork. I'm
it's
only
a brand
standing on
that
their
they've
shoulders
done the
anyway.
leg. Yeah, exactly. It's
So-
it's a reputation that they've earned and deserve to have. There's no way of taking that away from it in any way,
So-
shape, or form.
I don't
But you'd
want to
like
be
to
competing with
think
them.
you'd like to think that if you wanted to continue with what you're doing down there and all the other koi farms in the UK, and they want to hand it over to the sons and their sons, and when you get that generation of, as you say there, they are the masters, and they are. They've got it down to an art form, haven't they?
Yeah.
If you could get your generations of knowledge passed to generation of knowledge to generation of knowledge, and the experience and the marketing behind it, there's nothing to say that a British koi farm couldn't be there at some stage, but by then they're going to be
They'd be further ahead. But
exactly. Yeah. So you're always going to be chasing. It's the same as everything else.
yeah,
Whoever comes out with the idea first and starts always lead the race, don't they?
except for England and football.
Oh, yeah.
You had to mention
Cricket.
the F word, didn't you?
You went from sensible to sport, and I don't do sports. If I went down that line, there'd be a lot more people fall out with me. But I do. They deserve it, don't they? At the end of the day, they produce the quality, they make the fish what they are, and they've made the hobby what it is. Without them truly doing what they've done for all these years, we wouldn't be where we are now. We wouldn't be doing it. We wouldn't be keeping them. We wouldn't be breeding them. We wouldn't have koi farms in the UK. We have followed suit in a design and a fashion and an industry that we are ever slowly, increasingly catching them up.
Yeah, but the whole point is we can supply.
Well, yeah.
They don't need to supply.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I'm never even trying to, because at the end of the day, I'm only ever buying. Even my best parents are nowhere near. They're a mile away from the parents they're using. So in reality,
That's the one. See,
it's not happening, is it?
I'd far sooner have Yorkshire koi. Hardest fish in England.
If
Double hard
toughness-
bastards,
if
that's
toughness
what you
was a
want.
yeah, maybe we need that category in the shows.
Yes.
Yes.
Toughest.
Double hard bastards. Yorkshire koi.
Yes. The only fish that can argue with you.
That's it. They did. They started it. It is Japanese koi. That's at the end of the day. It is. They started it. They started the process, and all from farmers thinking, "Wow, this is a bit something different," and making a bit of a hobby out of it.
Yeah.
Where it all started.
Exactly the
Finding
same.
something totally different, breeding it with something again and again and again, to give us the weak bloodlines that we have today. joking.
We're tougher than that.
Yeah, I've particularly for me this year, I've noticed just how weak a particular bloodline are. And showers are
Have you noticed that, Rick? Showers always seem to be the first to die.
weak.
Yeah, all go Sankey are bad in that respect, and it doesn't matter if they're Jap or English or anything. They are weaker. That's part and parcel. But
Yeah.
you can obviously we produce fish, and the more we produce from our own parents, and even the next generation now we're on to our next, they're fish that have obviously thrived in our environment. So in a few generations, we will have fish that are maybe not as good as the top Jap stuff, but you can put them in an unheated pond, and they are what you might call tougher, harder, more acclimatized, and that's part and parcel. Our customer base, 95% of them are unheated, and their ponds are, this time at the minute they're horrible. They're cold, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, the most delicate, highest quality fish we do aren't going to do well in them. Yet the metallics and such like, and the chags and the shishuis and the sargis are cruising around no bother.
Yeah.
So
see-
you do have to come a point somewhere where you think, well, the top end lines of fish, whether it comes from Japan or from us or wherever, are almost semi-tropical. They do not like cold
Yeah.
and all the stuff that's associated with cold.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we've been on this topic before as well
Yeah.
about it. And we treat them different on the farm. We have certain varieties that we keep in tunnels, we keep under heat, we look after differently to other varieties because some tolerate it, some don't.
Yeah, I must admit, most of my Gersanki are in the tunnel.
Yeah.
With salt as well. Took your advice.
Salt and heat.
Not lost a single
The main thing that made me notice it is obviously doing the little. It was only a little one. It was only a little growing show that I've done. I'm saying by little by the amount of people that entered it. But there was 19, including myself. And out of that 19 now, there is 10 left. No, sorry. 8 left. Mine included makes it 9. So 11 out of them have died. Which is not... Everybody said the same thing. Every fish has looked fine. Nothing looks like there's anything wrong with it. No signs, no scrapes, no parameter problems, no parasite problems. Just woke up one morning, fish dead. And
yeah, we can't comprehend that into everything. That's one little they're all from one spawn.
Oh yeah, exactly. They're all from the same supplier as well. All the same supplier, but yeah.
But yeah,
the one
but
that
to be
I've
fair,
got in my
the
pond,
supplier is only bought some fish from a breeder, and so at that point you can't jump in all showers or that supplier or whatever, because that,
no,
that
I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking more like
but they are weaker. There is no doubt.
The genetic side of the Gosanki or shower kind of thing. And Daz has not had much luck with it. I mean, to be fair, I've still got my 2 in my pond, and there are lots of the people that have entered into the growing show that got way better ponds than me. Yet I've been lucky enough to still have one. But who's to say that this big nip and cold spell that we have now coming in the next week or two doesn't start weeding a few more out, or other fish in the pond? You don't know, do you?
Yeah.
So look at the draw. You either get there, you get through it, or you don't. But it's a bit of a small number.
We've seen it honestly time and again. I remember probably 15 years ago that we bred some Omasako Shiros, and at that time we kept nothing under heat, and we had some lovely Shiros. Probably had 1,000 Shiros in one of the fish houses, and they were mixed with other ponds of fish. And the first time it went proper cold, in every pond, the Shiros all start hit the floor, literally start clamping up, and just literally died. And everything else in the ponds was swimming around. Everything's fine. They're all absolutely... A lot of our fish were still coming up for food. And the shows, there are fish, but obviously they were from a very specific spawning. And they literally, 1,000 fish between all these ponds slowly just died off. And it was like nothing on them, just cold. Water temperature probably 5-6 degrees. Just did not tolerate it. Would not tolerate it. And it's like, well, what's going on there? And you start chatting to people, oh yeah, but... Yeah, they don't like being under 12 degrees. It's like, well, most of our winter, what do you mean?
That's a good summer.
Yeah. When you've got a pond of fish and there's, 1,000 fish in 12 ponds and the X amount of Shiros in every single pond just do not tolerate it. And the Shishuis and the Chagway and all the everything else is absolutely fine. You start scratching your head. And it's just specifically one variety across the board. And that was probably 15 years ago we first saw that, and we've seen it with Sankis, Kahakus, all sorts. But some farms, like Momotaro stuff, tends to be stronger. And that's with the Mako bloodline in it. But it also produces fish that aren't as pretty in terms of the good ones are good, but the numbers of good ones are terrible. But they do tend to be a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Do you go down the line of having 100,000 offspring, you have 10 good ones, and those 10 good ones will tolerate cold water, or produce fish from another bloodline that we get 1,000 good ones, but none of them will tolerate cold water. From a business, so you do the 1,000 and keep them warm.
Yeah.
Didn't you? I don't.
Yeah.
Gary's saying there, any koi that can survive in my pond. Hold on, put back more as a plate, please. Any koi that can survive in my pond are the hardest koi bastards you can get. I mean, technically, in water down south, and they've already been drunk, recycled, and back through pipes like 3-4 times already, kind of thing. So, technically, yeah, they should. Somebody else said there, look, what is it? I agree that southern water is like Red Bull. Ah, dear.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I think you almost have to have two different types of
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
environments or koi keepers, didn't you? But your top end stuff.
Yeah.
If you ain't got some way of keeping those ponds not saying heated, but stop them going cold, then you are in, well, it's a different world, isn't it? You just can't, if you can't maintain 8 degrees and above, then some of those fish are going to really struggle.
Yeah.
But the majority of koi keepers have got ponds that are left to the elements. So you've got to have a fish that can tolerate it.
Yeah.
But everyone, it's the same thing. Everyone, you just want the best fish you can get, don't you?
Yeah.
As you learn more about it, you understand what makes a better fish better. That fish is much nicer. I want that one. Sod's law, that one died. First winner. Another one. Vince, no. Carl might have done. I don't know.
No, nothing.
I've been cleaning up your mess all day.
Blame him again for something else. I don't know.
I've been cleaning up Vince. We've been making such a mess, mate. The farm is rocking.
I know we've touched on this before, but George Murdoch has asked, what is the best test kit? As I see koi keepers using all different ones with different results, so which is the most accurate? Now, obviously, the most accurate one has got to be the Hannah test kits. But does that make them the best one? Because they are expensive, but they are the most accurate.
Do you need to? My point. Do you need to be that accurate? No.
No, you don't. No, but that if you wanting 100% to 0.01, which you don't need to do, but they are the most accurate one. There are a lot. I'm going to take a quote that I heard somebody say earlier on, Vicky from Bubble and Fins. The best test kit is the best test kit that you find works for you. And that's the best answer.
Yeah. We use Tetra and Columbo. Very simple, almost identical. Drip, drip, drip. You can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
And you soon learn what's good or bad. You do 5 drips in your nitrite, it should be pink or whatever. If it ain't pink and it's purple, start sorting someone out. But you understand the differences, you understand what you're looking at, and I don't know what realistically test kits. Ammonia if it's a new pond, nitrite is your most common recurring thing. NT Labs, and it's the same. A liquid test kit is a lot better than any of these dipstick things. Is that a dipstick one, Gaz?
No, this is drip. This is
Get a dipstick one for ammonia.
This is not me doing Blue Peter. Here's one I prepared earlier. This is literally because I was testing my tank of a day to check that parameters on that. But you've got the ammonia, which is 3 bottles, part 1, 2 and 3, 5 drips, 5 drips, 5 drips, 10-minute result.
They're all exactly the same, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, no, they're not actually. No, this one. This is a 2-minute test with 5 drips. This one is a 2 bottles, a 10-minute test with 6 drips. pH one is an instantaneous test with 5 drops. This one is your KH, which is 1 drop to see if it goes blue, and then continue counting your drops therefore after to see if it changes back to yellow to tell you your KH. And then you've got 2 bottle test, which is 2 drops of this one, and then 1 drop of that again and again and again until it changes colour to from purple to blue, I think.
And what sort of cost is that, guys? Can you remember?
That particular test kit is $23.99 delivered to your door from Amazon.
That's not
now
bad.
That bit doesn't come in with it. That's a bit that I've put in, which is squeeze that, fill it up. It's bang on 5 ml within a drop or 2. You get a little bottle. Each one has a little line marker around there. You put these little stickers on that they provide with on the lids. So you've got your ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, pH, KH, GH, and you put the little stickers on for each test. and then put the little line markers. They also come with a little chart that tells you everything, and also I think there's about 20 odd that you can put your results into from them. Relatively simple, relatively easy to use, pretty straightforward, does exactly what it says. Gives you instant readings from anything from 10 minutes to 2 minutes, instantaneous.
But at the end of the day,
counting
I
drips.
suppose it's what you're into as well. I mean, some people like to calibrate it, to do all the electronic stuff, and to me, that's way too complicated.
The only downside, I would say, with any liquid test kit, and anybody that's got a liquid test kit, make sure you keep it not in a cold environment because certain elements of them crystallize, but in a cool temperature. Cool shade like that. Don't leave them in somewhere like this conservatory. The chemicals in the ammonia and the pH evaporate and dry out, so you end up having to run out. But I will say this much: the one that goes the fastest is the pH. The ammonia again after that. You always end up with loads of this. You always end up with loads of that. This one will go relatively quick if you have to test if you've got water like mine that's got no KH. And the GH, you'll end up with loads left because, I mean, if your KH is all right, your GH normally tends to follow suit. But
yeah, do you want to make your pH go further?
Go on.
Just put 1 mil in and 1 drip. Last 5 times longer, mate.
You are a genius. I knew there was a reason why we had this man on this show. Thank you very much, Rick. You're a star. That'll do for me.
Can we do the same with ammonia then?
No, it's not so easy. But yeah, you can just reduce the amount. You don't need 5 mil, do you? To see the colour of pH, you just need 1 mil of water and 1 drip. You can see what colour it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see. Oh, bad as. ANC Koi have said there, no need to test koi are all good. No, if your koi are all good, you don't need to test. But if something goes wrong with your koi, what do? Do you just start randomly throwing in treatments here, there and everywhere to the point you find out which one of them does something? A test kit is kind of needed, but I agree, if you want, as you say, if you know your fish, you know your koi, they'll show you when something's wrong. You can see it. Once you get to spend time with them, you know they're reacting different.
Yeah.
The minute you spot something different, that's when the tests come out. You can't start treating blindly, or otherwise you could be throwing out and that's doing nothing, causing more problems.
It's all a learning curve, isn't it? You soon start learning.
Yeah.
If I'll say this much, if you regularly clean your filters, if you regularly maintain your pond and regular water change, there really shouldn't be any reason to have a problem.
Unless your pH crashes.
And that's the one. Yeah. There are elements that can be taken out your hands just from exactly that. pH crash. Or, for example, like with me, when I realised that my water quality from my tap had changed, and I'm taking water out and I'm putting water back in. Each time I'm doing so, I'm reducing the KH in my water. And then you get a pH crash. And I didn't know I was doing that because I didn't know. So really,
you testing your tap water.
You should be testing your tap water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're going down a whole world, didn't you? Fluoramines, chloramines, heavy metals.
Yeah, then
deep
you can be going down all routes, can't you? But yeah, I would say observation is your best test kit.
Yeah.
If you're observing your fish, if you're watching your fish regular, or you're spending, I mean, I know there are people out there that have got all these singing and dancing filters, ponds, and everything, and that's all automated, does it all for them. But probably might not. I'm not saying you don't, but probably might not spend as much time out there with the fish. Whereas my fish are my hobby. That's what I do. That's my downtime, is gaming and fish keeping. When I'm not messing around with the fish, I'm nattering about koi or online and talking with friends, or I'm gaming. But the majority of the time, I am messing about, doing stuff with my fish, checking on them, making sure they're all right, servicing, cleaning filters, And if I'm not doing it, I'm talking to somebody that is doing it on their ponds. So you get to spend a lot of time around your fish. Spend a lot of time around your fish, then you end up with a lot of knowledge about your fish, and you can see just how they change and what you need to react on. I can tell when my fish need some more KH in water now because I spent more time around them.
Yeah. There is a difference though, guys, when you start growing like your fish tank. That's going to need a lot more attention than your main pond.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be humping food in there. So you need to be checking the ammonia and the nitrite.
Hence the reason why that's in there. So and regular water change.
So your little fish tank's going to end up using more of that box than your pond.
It will, yeah. You're right, yeah, 100%. Which is the reason why I bought a new one.
And there's people out there that have got growing on systems, heated little, and they are much more, if you're trying to feed your fish and grow them, then you need to be on top of the nitrite and the pH and the KH, and all those things are much more relevant than a big koi pond that's quite stable. Yeah. A smaller heated environment where you're feeding fish is much more volatile, and you perhaps need to test kits more for that environment. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that do it.
This is what I noticed the other day. I've got because I used to have cichlids in this tank years ago, and it's a system that I've left and maintained the same. And I've also got the dragonstone in there. The dragonstone, the KH in that tank is 7. Yet it comes out, I top it up and water change it from my tap, which is 1. The KH in my pond is 1, unless I buffer it up. But the tank, because of the coral sand and the dragonstone, is buffering my KH up. So I don't need to... totally different environment in there to what's in there.
But your tank, you'll hit a window in about 2 weeks when your tank, the nitrite, starts to peak.
Yeah.
And it will start to come up because you're just putting too much food in for the weight of fish for the filtration, and you'll be like, do I take fish out or feed them less?
That's the one. That's the thing, yeah. Or do I water change more regular to keep up on it?
Yeah, but you see where I'm going? It's one of those. So the smaller environment is much more
critical.
Yeah, it is critical because those fish eat, and suddenly they'll stop eating because they can't obtain enough oxygen or the nitrite or the pH or something's gone wrong because biomass is too much for the filtration and
I mean it is an external canister. I have had the koi are dirty buggers, man. The amount they shit compared to tropical fish.
The amount they eat. You tell me how much you're feeding them.
I know, that's what I mean. The amount that I'm feeding them, but the amount that they shit is nuts.
Yeah, that's all they do, eat shit constantly.
I never fed my tropics anywhere near what I'm feeding these. Is this?
And they never grew like that, did they? They
didn't, mate. No. But I'll tell you something else. The crown loach is starting to fill out. Its gut's getting quite big. So he's feeding. He's jumped in alongside the koi now. He spends all the time with the koi, cruising around with them. And when the food's out, he's just in there as quick as what they are. Whereas prior to him not being in there, he would spend a lot of time hid behind a little rock somewhere. More food going in, and he has become a lot more active. Even, I'll tell you, this is weird to watch. Watching a plek swimming upside down on his surface, nailing the koi pellets because he enjoys the taste of them. Watching him pulling them in, sucking them in, and blowing it back out, sucking it back in, but pinning 4 or 5 of them against the side of the glass, and you can watch him sucking at the pellets in and munching at them. It's funny. It's been a cool little experiment. It's been something to watch and something to enjoy over Christmas period. But yeah, they're all there now at the hole waiting for more food coming in.
It's almost like not long term. My little boy had a tropical tank and he had all his little tetras and glassfish and whatever. And he kept going, Dad, I want to koi. I said, put koi in there, put a few in there. And they just went, and then 8 weeks of being in there, they're having to come out because they've now destroyed the tank, eaten everything, back to the farm. I want some more little, I keep putting little ones in. And it's like a continual, so it's tropicals are not moved. They're the same little fish swimming around in there, and the koi just go in there, destroy it, come out, new ones go in there, and he, at the end of the day, he enjoyed watching them, and then the tank just gets destroyed. So I like to shut it down. Just like
I mean, I know I'm going to come across the point where they're going to have to go. But the main reason why I put them in, around by me now, most of the tropical places have gone. And the place where I used to always get them, which was probably the most reasonable place for koi and tropical fish, and I've always gone there right from being a teenager. There's nowhere now. The other places, like to go get 5 neon tetras, 15 quid. I'm not paying 15 quid for 5 neon tetras. That'll do 2.5, 3 years max. When you can get them from a
Get
place
free
like
koi
that.
for Daz, and they just
No, the other place, I used to be able to go and get a shoal of 20 neon tetras for 15 quid. The difference being that the other place in Huddersfield is just, I'm not saying they're funny, or bad. The fish are very nice quality, but they're well expensive, and they always have been though. They've always been more expensive fish. And I thought to myself, well, what do I do? Do I go out and spend a shit ton on load more tropics that are not going to last nowhere long but cost me twice as much? Or do I just let them dwindle off bit by bit till I got to the point now where there's very little in there? So I thought, sod it, bit of science does. We'll bang some coin and see what we can do. Fill it with coin, have some fun, let them grow on a bit.
It is, but it is such a temporary tank.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
They're not going to be stopping in there.
You could do four crops in that tank a year.
Yeah.
yeah,
Literally,
exactly.
that's the speed that they grow.
It will grow up.
yeah.
I imagine that in the next 2 months they're going to have to come out.
Yeah.
If they carry on growing at the rate that they're growing at, they're definitely going to have to come out.
Look what Tony does with his little. He puts fry in there from us, and then Jesus.
Yeah, they're like this. I mean, some of these are grown like stink.
He's been
there's a
stuck in
couple
spawn
of,
from them all the time.
A question there from Eden Koi Pond. It says, what gaming do you do, Gary? Pretty much anything and everything. First person shooters, survival games. I'm a backer of a game called Star Citizen and have been for the last 5, 6, 7 years, which is all types of game format rolled into one. So you've got puzzle games, you've got first-person shooters, you've got survival side of it, you've got everything. Everything you can think of is all thrown in one. But yeah, at the moment, me and Jeff are playing Ark Survival. Forgot the name.
Dinosaurs.
Not Fortnite. What's the matter with you?
Ark Survival Ascended. I have played Fortnite, yeah. Ark Survival Ascended, which is a game that I've played for. Oh, and Dave, sorry. Well, Dave, technically, come on, Dave. You come on for half an hour, then you go off, and then you come on for half an hour, then you go off. So it's not really, you're not really got into it yet. But the weekend, I expect you'll be there more because kids and what have you, mate. There's and you know you need 46 hours of sleep per night. Sorry, Dave. But yeah, I all forms of gaming, mate. I've done all sorts of gaming, but I would say the Fortnite's a good game. The worst thing I don't like about Fortnite is some sweaty little 12-year-old that's giving you a good arsehole and bouncing you all around map and kicking your ass everywhere. But
I can't do it. I literally go on it. My little boy goes, yeah, go on, Dad, go on. And I'm like, first one dead. 99. You placed 99.
I don't even know
depends
which
the
button to
format
press
that you
down.
do. If you're playing it on a control pad, put that pad in my hand and I'm shy. I can't play it for life in me. If I've had 12 months off and I haven't played much at all, put me on a mouse and keyboard and put me on Call of Duty for any type of first person shooter on that, and I can be rocking up in top 3, top 4 in every game. Or I can go playing in smaller maps with 20 odd people and come top and win quite a lot. I've done it for a lot of years. I've run servers for Call of Duty. I've run servers for Rust. I've had numerous different types of games where we've had 3,000 or 4,000 members coming and playing with us and stuff. So we've done it. We competed, played against other countries, against other teams of 20 and 30. I've done it for a lot of years. I've always enjoyed it. Right from being a kid with the first game, which was an Atari ST with a little paddle thing with a ball that went doop,
Can't remember that.
And all you do was fire a ball back and forward. I spent 3.5 weeks typing a program out to make a little guy that walked through and out of a maze and out of it. And it took me 3.5 weeks typing coding out. And it was the shittest game I've ever played in my life. It was crap. I'd never been so pissed off. My dad bought me a magazine with 24 pages worth of code in it. I sat there typing every word for word, then tried to play it and it wouldn't work. Realised that there were a couple of spelling mistakes and bit bats. Change all them, go back to it again, and then it worked. And then when it finally finished, I was like, this is shit.
On that note, we've got to do some code appreciation at some point, haven't we?
We have, yeah, and we've got a couple more questions as well. So
All right, I'll be back.
How to kill the
we'll try this one. Steve Kendricks asked, I run an entire gravity-fed filter on 100mm airlift returns. 100mm airlift returns to the pond using a 60-litre air pump running only 40 watts. What is the panel's view on using this method rather than conventional pumps? Mate, I think that them airlift systems are brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat it.
Yeah. The amount that you can save by having one air system to run your pond and another air system to run your pump, and have both those pumps running at, you've got 40 watts for one and 40 watts for another, you've only got 80 watts powering your whole pond. Man.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, 100%.
It's really to set up. It's not easy to set up.
I think, personally, for an airlift system, I think it's only difficult the first time you try getting your head around it. Once you understand and watch a few videos on how they're made and how they're done, they're relatively simple to do. It's just the little chambers and stuff you've got to make.
Every one I watch, Gaz, is different. So
yeah, but
which one should I go with?
If you look at the simple one that Vince has done when he made on his, for example, his is the same as the videos that I've watched and seen. And I've seen some of them pushing water through 6-inch pipes. Yeah. And the flow that's coming out of them from something, I think it were 100-litre air, 120-litre air pump. And the amount of flow that were coming through on that thing was nuts. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Airlift systems. This gentleman's got his, Steve Kendricks is running his entire gravity-fed filter on 100mm airlift returns to the pond, using only a 60-litre air pump running only 40 watts, as opposed to a pump that might be running at 250 watts.
Yeah, no, you can get some massive water movement, but it's got to be set up right, and it's got to be set in a manner that a gravity-fed system works fine. You're moving the water, but the minute you get any kind of blockage, should we say, get some leaves on your 4-inch drain, then you haven't got the pull. So you it's one of those. Yes, in an ideal world, they can work fantastic. And if you're the sort of person that maintains them and then the environment they're in, but it doesn't work for everyone. Because
the only one thing I don't know, and it's if it's anybody that's got one that does know, could obviously answer the question. You know, if you put an air stone in your pond, over a period of time, that air stone becomes clogged. You get less air coming out of it. Does that have the same effect inside the airlift system? Are they then accessible to be able to take that air stone out and replace it, should it do?
We have to make it accessible, yeah. They will, all air stones will block. So that's part and parcel. It depends on the pressure you got from your air pump, the type of stone. And like I say, if your system has any way of blocking, then you've got they'll push such a low head, but you can make it work, but it's got to be a free flowing system that allows it to work. So it's got to be designed right. If it's in somewhere where you haven't got leaves or blanket weed, phenomenal. If you've got a pond like most people where you've got debris getting the drains and blanket weed, it's not going to work so well. You've got to have access to the stones, and the size of the bubble makes a difference.
Yeah, forget that then. No good for me.
Well,
Right.
for me, if I was using an airlift system this year, it would have been an absolute ball ache and a nightmare. It would have
with
been
the
it would have
leaves.
been clogged up with leaves and shit 24/7.
But you couldn't in your pond like it is.
No. I'm saying but as mine stands, it couldn't do it and it wouldn't do it. My
But
filter
just-
would have to be as low as my water level and all the rest of it. And
You remember the old fish tanks, under gravel filters? Yeah.
Yes.
They were an airlift. That is exactly.
That's an airlift system.
That is exactly what they are. They can work in the right environment and they won't work in the wrong environment. So you've got to, if you set the pond up to work like it, and especially if you're inside somewhere where you've got no natural light or whatever, so like in our shop where we can run the systems we run because we don't have natural light. So we have no blanket, we have no leaves, we have none of that debris that most ponds have. So we can run our ponds differently and we could run them on airlift systems easy enough. But yeah, you are restricted on whatever head, whatever it is, 100 mil, 120 mil. The higher you go, the less they're going to work.
Yeah.
And they work better with salt water. You get a smaller bubble in saline water, so they actually pull more water with salt in it.
Next question then. Will new NFK, the abbreviation's getting used now, mate. Will NFK sell fish at shows?
Will we? If we ever go to a show.
If you ever go. Would you consider have you thought about doing one this year or any years coming up in the
We tried.
near future?
We tried to do one 20 years ago, and we were bluntly told that we weren't welcome, and that was kind of
Not bitter at all.
yeah. It was one of those like, well, like you then. We carry on.
I mean, to be fair, mate, I won't blame you if you were. I mean, if you've got no, you're not welcome. Have you? So you've not tried something recently, then? No.
To be fair, the only koi show near us is South Hants, which is hour and a half drive to the venue. That was the one we weren't welcome at 20 years ago. So it was. So the next nearest one probably to us is not far off the National.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. It's at a time of year when we are flat out.
At your busiest, yeah. That's what Adam. But Adam said exactly the same, didn't it? When we spoke to him down there, the thing with him for koi shows is whether or not he can get there and get back. But it's always in the busiest of peak times for him. And Cuttlebrook said exactly the same, didn't they? When we visited them, it's your busiest time of the year. And have you got enough staff to be able to say, right, we'll take 4 people down there to sell fish all day long, and that's taking 4 people away from the farm. Who's going to be doing the farm? That one guy left there on his own is running around like an headless chicken trying to do everything at the busiest time of year.
Yeah.
It's
like Quenny Koi. I mean, I foolishly phoned up to order some stuff from Quenny Koi. The weekend the show was on at Newark. I thought, why can't I get hold of it anyone? Why am I not answer the phone? Because we're at the bloody show. They've actually shut the whole store.
Yeah, it's a massive operation. You got to do a lot of money to warrant it.
Not the Newark. Sorry, the Coventry show that was.
That's the one. It's expensive to have a stall, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to make a decent turnover to make that viable, to make profit from it.
Yeah. And it's all right saying, well,
I'm sure we will.
goes with it, but you don't need that kind of advertising. Everything's done online now.
There is a place for it. I'm sure we will do something, but yeah, it's just one of those that initial thing sits deep with the owner and whatever. It's like, well, why bother spending money and time to be somewhere where we're not even, well, we weren't allowed at the time. We have been invited to shows since, but it's like, well, there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
So realistically, you can't shut. So someone's got to stay on the farm. The shop's got to be open. Our shop's full time retail. You can't just shut it. So someone's got to be there. Someone's got to run the farm. So reality is one person's got to try and set up a stand, transport the fish, get the fish ready for showing, for selling or whatever. It's not a one-man job.
Yeah,
yeah. That's
what you need is a few YouTubers to come and volunteer with you for the weekend when you do it.
Exactly.
But the difference is Cuttlebrook and Adam, they're not full-time. They haven't got full-time shops, so they can just have no appointments for that weekend.
Yeah.
Do it, although they're busy.
Yeah.
we've always gone down the road. We've always had a full-time shop that is never shut. It is because you've got people travelling to see. You can't just turn and say, "Oh, sorry, we're shut today."
Yeah.
That's a good way of upsetting people, isn't it? So
Yeah.
whatever happened, the shop would still have to be open. So yeah, we will do it, but
You'd either need somebody to cover your shop or somebody to cover the store, wouldn't you?
well, yeah.
Or split it 50-50.
Yeah.
The shop, whoever's doing the shop's got to be one of us doing the shop. So there's still, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do you get, in reality, for the time, the staff, you're probably looking at $3,000 to have the stand, the transport, getting the fish there, the people. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
2 more questions to go. Carl said, I can't be on tonight to watch, but I will be watching and catch up when I get Wi-Fi back. But I do have a question. At what temp is best to help heal split stroke damaged fin? My grow-on fish are at 23 degrees. What is the best temperature for encouraging damage repair? Or
Their metabolic rate's fastest at about 25 to 27 degrees. I'm not saying that's just, it will heal fastest at the higher temperature up to that point. 23 is pretty damn good. So it should heal pretty quick.
so 23 degrees is pretty good, but the best would be 24 to 25.
24, 26. Basically, the higher it is up to about 27, everything they do is working faster. Tissue development, repairs. But you go beyond 27, oxygen becomes a bit of a problem. So it's a good 23, 24s should heal pretty damn quick, especially a young fish. If it's a small fish, the speed they grow, the fin literally grows out from inside.
Yeah.
Alan says, Rick, you need to move the farm. It's 7.5 hours travel from me to yours. Stop off halfway, mate, and
He'll be at the show doing the judging, won't he?
Yeah.
I will say this, Carl. When I've put in 1 or 2 of these little koi in here, when they first go into a new environment, especially being tank-based, because they can see everything out of it, they do tend to get spooked a fair bit. As you might notice this, your fish will race around a lot. And because I've got the rocks in there, they have knocked and bumped themselves and split the odd fin here, there and everywhere. And you think, right, okay, well that's a ripped dorsal, that's a torn pec. 2 days at 24 to 25 degrees. Now I've
moved. Said they were 29 earlier.
No, I'm saying that's what I initially had it in at 24 to 25 degrees. But I've moved the rest of them in and I put the temperature up, and now they're at 20. Well, they're on 28 degrees, it says there on tank now. So, and when I brought them ones in at Daz's, the little Deutz, I'm not sure what it is, Daz, it's a full yellow one that we had, the Deutz lateral scaled one. It's nice.
Oh,
it's not a Yamabuki because it's white on the underside. But if it is, it could be, but we're not sure. But that one split its pec and its tail and its dorsal. In 2 days, that was healed up.
Yeah.
Completely knitted together. You can't even see the split where they any of them were at all. I don't know if that's common or whether that's always the
Well,
thing.
you know what, Gaz? I had a couple that just got tiny little splits in the fins when I put them in. I didn't notice till I saw them swimming around. I'm looking tonight and I'm thinking I can't see any split fins anywhere.
Magic.
Nuts, mate.
Yeah.
Temperature's key.
It is, man, yeah. It's key for growth. Aquarium Adventures is asking, what you keeping? Discus koi? No, I'm just keeping koi in my tropical fish tank because my tropical fish tank numbers have gone down that low, mate, that I decided, well, let's see if I can. This is the bit where I unplug this cable now and it goes off. Exactly like I thought it would do. Bear me 1 second, let me see so I can show you.
It is quite colourful though, with the koi in. You think koi is a bit sombre, but no, it's
Koi in tanks are all right, but
I find I'm watching the buggers all the time.
It's a short window. The problem with people having koi in tanks is they tend to stay there too long and then get all sorts of problems.
So we've got the little clown lotus that's in there. and then the lemon harawaki.
You only said
This
it's
is
big
a
as
little.
coach.
Yeah, no, I told you it does. It's growing like stink. And look, that's the size of the tails it does. Looking hanging off there off the bottom of the Yamabuka. It's almost as big as he is. But they are starting to grow.
Yeah.
The Deutsch now, that little lemon harawaki was about a quarter of the size of the Kleinloch.
Yeah.
And he's nearly as big as him now.
That's crazy.
So
We're keeping this one in here as a bit of a sample because it's got rolled gills to see what happens. The Sankey's gills are rolled.
there'll be even
They're
more
all the-
rolled before you know it.
This is a thing. That's why I thought I'd check and test, and I've been testing, and none of the others have. So we was wondering if perhaps maybe when that fish was so much smaller. Right, the theory is, this is what we were talking about the other night. The theory is the Deutsch and the Kajakus are New Forest Koi. The Yamabuki is Adam Byers. The Sankey is Daz's. Now, those Sankeys, when we first went through them, no, but we spoke about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we first went through them, we had quite a lot that had rolled gills. Now, we think that perhaps maybe in the spawning process, as the fry were young, the water quality wasn't as good, which caused problems with rolled gills. Now this fish has grown a little bit, it's made it a lot more obvious that the gills are rolled, as all the others aren't. And they've all been kept under the same conditions in same environment of water with your fish and with Adam Byers' fish, yet when they've come in here and started growing and doubled in size, now they look like that one particular fish, which was spawned separate to yours and to Adam's, has got rolled gills.
Yeah, we only see rolled gills normally from
Water quality, isn't it?
gill irritation when they're a couple of weeks old.
Yeah.
So ammonia, nitrite, flukes, whatever it is, it takes the gill filaments swell, and as the operculate turns from like soft tissue to hardened, like your gill, and then you get the flaps. If you've got an issue at that early stages, 2 to 6 weeks, that window, then you see that, and it will generally progressively gets worse, and it's something that because of the gill filaments were swollen at that early age, the operculars stick out a bit, and then you get that turned out,
Yeah.
horrible, and it will get in a good environment, it will stay the same, but just look a bit off in a bad environment, and you can get whole ponds to it. Yeah,
Worse and worse and worse, yeah. So that might be a cull from the tank. Well, it will be a cull from the tank if it remains looking like that. But the rest of them haven't got that issue. So we're thinking that's an issue that's been, like you're saying there, at an earlier stage.
it happened when obviously they don't have any bone or cartilage or anything when they're small. So a few weeks old, and they become from they're 2 weeks old. They're just like little jellyfish almost, and there's nothing there up to suddenly 6 weeks old. They're proper little fish. The bone, the calcium starts to solidify. They actually start to grow bones and whatever. So that window, if there's anything that irritates the gill tissue at that point, you get those weird gill deformations.
Well, my little Sankey's fine in here. His gill's perfect. He must have got a duffin gas.
But it's one of those things. We've seen it with algae, certain algal blooms at the right time. Obviously, the algae cells are of a size that irritate the gills.
Right.
And there's nothing else. It's just the algae, the type of algae in the pond at that point in the koi's life is enough to irritate the gills to just cause it. So there's numerous, but it generally all comes back down to gill irritation. So the food can be a problem, parasites, bacteria, water quality, and it's
a lot of shit to go wrong.
And the trouble is, if it goes wrong, that's the big problem. If it goes wrong in those first few weeks, you can ruin the entire batch, and you don't know it until months later. And you go, that looks a bit odd. That looks a bit odd. And
Good morning.
Bit of a pain. Bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But that's probably where it is, and you do find in aquariums, if you grow koi in aquariums, you see it more often because you're pushing the nitrite. The water quality is always right on the edge.
Yeah.
You see more of these problems.
We did have it with one koi though, and it was terrible. Its gills really curled out, and they went completely flat again. It's the only one I've ever seen it happening, but it did.
It did, yeah. It was a
Tansho
Goshki.
I kept it because it was a Tansho Goshki. Gaz kept saying, "Get rid of it, Gaz, cull it," because it's got rolled gills, and the bloody gills weren't flat on it.
Yeah, I've never seen one recover look better, but
I didn't even think it was possible.
No. Everything's possible, I suppose.
Yeah. I didn't go for the iron or anything. It just did it naturally.
Yeah. When it's minor, right at the bottom, I've known people buy expensive Jap stuff, and they have just the slightest little curl on their soft tissue, and they take little triangular nips,
trim it off. Yeah.
just little nips, and it just tightens back up. But yeah,
I've heard of people trimming the edge off altogether of the gill filament where it curls round, and they reckon when it grows back, it'll grow back straight. But I don't know about that. Sounds a bit dicey.
It does.
And the last but not least question that we've got is again. Oh crap! Last one is from Rick.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Here we go. What do people think is the best way to get new koi keepers into the hobby? Could the BKKS and industry as a collective do more to encourage new people into the hobby? I'll let you go first, Daz.
Yeah, I would say open days and growing shows, because you get to meet more people. It's a great.
They're already in the hobby, aren't they? Growing shows.
But if you're just getting into koi, and you see something advertised like an open day, say at yours place, and they go down, I don't know, they're going to find out a lot more about koi, and hopefully meet other like-minded people. I
was thinking more, but the question was more aimed at people that don't keep koi. So youngsters that most people get.
If you don't keep koi, you don't like koi, you ain't going to get into it, are you?
I don't know. You keep
people to like koi.
One of my things is, obviously we have the New Forest show right by us, literally, and they have 150, 200,000 people every year turn up to the New Forest show. They come from all over.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those, you'd think that perhaps I've discussed it a lot, and it's the same problem, it's our busy time, but if the BKKS or someone got together, and I spoke to Owazi about it as well, having a stand there where you've just got a koi pond that people can come have a look at fish. Because how many people walk through and they go, oh, wow. Yeah. And it takes one in 10,000 people at that show to say, that's beautiful, I'd love to have a koi pond.
Yeah.
There's another 15 koi keepers.
Shall I tell you the absolute best way to get people into koi? Make a bloody Minecraft koi. You would overnight.
You're joking, but honestly, if you on Fortnite or Minecraft, kids that do stuff that
axolotls, they did a bloody Minecraft axolotl. You couldn't get axolotls for love nor money. They were everyone sold out more or less overnight. Kids went mental for them.
But the trouble is, the kids aren't allowed to keep fish. We can't sell fish to people under 16. But if you don't get the younger generation involved, then you have got nothing left of you. And I know people, you got at the minute to have a koi pond, you need to own a house, or is there some way? Like I say, with the aquarium, what Gaz has got there, an aquarium with his fish.
Yeah,
everyone can have a fish tank.
Yeah.
Is there a way of having a slightly bigger fish tank that's designed more for koi rather than tropical? It's little things, isn't it? And like you said, it could be something out of the blue. Minecraft having fish in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think one of the main things for the younger generation now is to get the younger generation back outside.
Yeah.
We throw all these pieces of technology and stuff in front of them, and kids spend hours and hours and hours of all the time when we were kids out there bugging about, having a laugh, You know, I'd get out on my push bike, we'd ride for miles and miles and miles. We'd go fishing for a day. We'd camp there overnight. We'd catch some brown
Booby
trout.
traps.
We'd cook them. We'd make a den or whatever and all this kind of stuff. Kids went out and did more. Whereas nowadays they seem to be stuck in front of technology more. Can you get kids into fish keeping through technology? Yes, I would say you probably could to some extent, but are you going to get the parents engaging with that to then move it from technology to tanks, ponds, and everything else if they've not got no interest? I think the most way that most people get into the hobby is from generation to generation to generation.
Yeah.
And the koi keepers that are out there now, handing that down to kids, grandkids, is the way to move it more than anything.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that the biggest link to koi is fishing. You talk to a lot of koi keepers, and there's an awful lot that started as fishermen, and then they wanted to keep fishing in a pond.
There is, yeah. I think that's just something that needs to be addressed as an industry, and the whole, like the BKK I've spot on the national, and it's amazing. But the vast majority of people that go to the national are koi keepers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because it's aimed at koi keepers. You only know about it if you're a koi keeper. But where's the new recruitment come from? Every year,
Well, I suppose really you could do that, promoting it at a fishing show.
fishing's massive.
I think
and whatever.
the way that
people.
the BKKS could do it is to have a show for kids. Literally put a show on where the kids can enter the fish. And yes, they're not going to be as nice or as good as the fish that perhaps maybe the more A-class showers have got, but it will get them into the hobby. It would get them into the interest. It would get them into wanting to progress, learn more, pick different style looking fish, go for a certain style in a sense, for them to compete against each other in. But it needs to be made at that point more affordable. And at present, everybody thinks like there's Aquarium Adventures. Wife approval factor with koi is low when she sees the filtration. They don't need to be expensive filtration, mate. And they don't need to be massive filtration. It needs to be made. And this gentleman here outside of us right now has got some of the most simplest filtration that does an amazing job and produces fish that, you know, some of us, me especially, can only aspire to grow fish in that size and that condition. And that's all from simple everyday things. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. And it doesn't have to be 40, 50 grand on a pond.
No.
But that's kind of where I'm going at. Is there a company out there that could create, I know you can create ponds. There's people doing fiberglass ponds and whatever, but
they're still not cheap.
Reduce it to a size where you've got a 1,000-litre tank that can, with filtration, with the pumps now, it's something that could be made cheap enough.
Yeah, I mean, they do it with the aquarium, don't they, like starter kits, but why not with ponds? Yeah.
It's just one of those. I don't know. I do think I know kids can't buy fish and they can't afford fish and whatever, but you've got to get them, like I say, interested and make it. Most people look at a pond and actually, when we quote for a proper koi pond, even if it's 8 foot square, look at 12 grand before you start, and that's not suddenly that's it's a decent.
It's out the window, isn't it? I can honestly say from my experience, the first time my dad took me fishing, I was 5 or 6 year old, and I didn't catch a fish. I sat there, but I was interested because my dad was catching fish. He let me handle a fish, he let me have a look at it, he'd give it me in the net, we put it back in. The next time we went, you know, I took a little rod, I didn't really catch a great deal, I didn't really get much into it, but I enjoyed watching my dad again. The third time I went, I caught my first little perch. And that was it. From the ages 6, maybe 7 year old, pardon the pun, but I was literally hooked into fishing. Yeah. I went from that then to joining my local fishing club as a junior member at 9 and 10 year old. I fished as a junior member right through to getting into the adults membership and stayed fishing there right up to the age of 42. And I handed in my license for totally different reasons. The reasons being then at the time I couldn't get there as often as I could because I were working shift patterns that didn't allow me to get there. They wanted clean-up parties and people had to go 3 times a year to do a clean-up party, and I couldn't get there because of my work commitments. So I handed in my licence. But I've always kept... My grandfather then got me into tropical fish from the age of 9-year-old by buying me a couple of fish to go in my uncle's tank. I used to spend a lot of time with my auntie and my uncle. At the time, they didn't have kids, and we used to go spend a lot of time there with my auntie and uncle, and I'd stop there. Me and my granddad and my uncle would go out to places looking at tropical fish, bring them, buy the odd one or two, bring them back, put them in the tank. I then got my own tank. That got me into keeping fish, and then leaving the fire service, getting into needing to get my head in a more sensible place, give me something to focus on, something as a hobby to get into and something to deal with. I've then had my kids. My kids have grown up with me, and my hobby was fishing. So I took my kids fishing. Both my sons love it. Daz has seen it. They love nothing more to go fishing. Lewis is in his element. When it's the competition thing between us though. Me, Brandon and Lewis, we all go out on a yearly fishing trip with Daz. But me, Brandon and Lewis, it's all the way driving there. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to catch more of you. And it just starts from the minute we get in the car to the minute when we get home. And to see the faces still light up. I mean, I've got a picture of my son. Brandon's first fish he caught was a brown trout at 2.5 pounds. He caught it on 2 pieces of sweet corn, and we weren't even going for a trout. We were going for some little carp that were in river. But he's holding this fish, and it slips in his hand, and it's almost 3/4 the length of his leg. He's just a little tot of a kid. Our Lewis has got one, and he's holding his about like that. And our Bethan, again, being the oldest of the 3, she's got one, holding it one hand with an ice cream in her over and ice cream all over her face. They loved it. And Bethan's not really got into it or been much bothered about it since, but Brandon and Lewis have stuck with it. Now Bethan's brought Teddy over, and Teddy comes in. Teddy'll come in and out of this room all night long. And the first thing he does is go and sit there and look at fish. And the first thing he has to do when he comes is to go feed the fish. Even as from like 1.5 years old, he knows that the big pond gets a big one, Papa, which is a fistful, and he chucks it in, and the little pond gets just a little one, and he'll put in 1 or 2 pellets, and then go, does it need another little one? And he gets another one. But he'll be interested in them because that's all I do, and he loves going to. He makes Marie bring him down to the shed if I'm down in that shed. And then we've all got to go in the shed, and he sits there and pulls on levers and does stuff. He thinks he's doing something. He thinks he's having fun in it, and he's learning how to clean the filters. And he'll sit there and watch me for hours doing it. I think you put that into a kid and they do that kind of thing regular. Yeah. Then it's a hobby that they get into because it's something you've shown them and something my granddad showed me or something my dad showed me, etc., etc. I think that's the biggest key, I think, the way to do it, the way to get them in. Like your lad is, Rick. You have your lad with you. The first thing he says, ooh, look at that fish there. His gills aren't right. His pecs aren't right. It's all the stuff he's heard you saying, but he's picked up and he's learned from watching his dad. Yeah.
And I took him fishing the other day, and I turned around and I go, what are you doing? And he's going, I'm on Minecraft. What are you doing? Fishing? He's catching these fish on Minecraft. I'm like, are you real? What are you doing?
You're sat here to catch fish for real, but you're catching fish on Minecraft. But again...
But that's part and parcel. But I'm just thinking, it's just one of those things that if the industry and the BKKS don't do something, where's the next generation coming from?
Yeah, because it is considered more of an old man's kind of sport.
It is an old man's thing.
Yeah.
It is the world's biggest
40
sport.
to 60-year-old blokes, isn't it? That's kind of demographic. There's not...
I'd agree with that, Rick, because when I were an angler as a kid, there were 4 junior members in that club with us. Yeah. Now, there were me, Lee Miller, Daniel Womersley, and Scott Miller. That were it. We was the only 4 members of that club in the junior membership. I never saw any other kids come up to it and get involved in it. But then when we became teenagers and we were still down there and fishing, that group of junior members turned into 25 or 30 or 40 people that saw us fishing there, got into it and come and joined us, and still fish now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, everything's changed though, guys, because
Clubs don't do it the same as what they did, do they?
Well, when we were kids, you could go down to a local stream or a local river, and wherever you went, there was fish. Nowadays, you go to a local river, it's empty. There's nothing.
Get shot around here.
The
Get off my land.
The only places you can catch are carp lakes, and that costs a lot of money to go. You've got to have a car for a start, and then you've got to pay whatever it is for the day ticket. There are no free waters or free rivers like when we were kids, canals and stuff. You could catch all day long on a canal. You go down now on a canal, they're all silted up, crystal clear. There's nothing in there. Bugger all, they're empty.
Well, a lot of the
water quality or whatever it is, but
a lot of the still waters.
Curb.
A lot of the still waters around by me, there used to be like, well, there still is, Sloughton District. Sloughton District waters used to have a lot of mill ponds. And all those mills have closed down and been turned into housing, flats and apartments. Yeah. And the mill ponds have been filled in and turned into chuffing car parks. So there's less of the environments to fish that you used to be able to fish. And then there's always the same. The government want to make the money out of it, don't they? Now they've got some guy that comes round every 2 minutes that wants to see your ticket and your license and everything, where kids were just out there having fun. And now they want to charge you for every penny that they can get out of you and have 400 quid out of you for a year's license, plus your rod's license. By the time you've done and you want to go out and progress through your tackle and your gear, you go out buy a small tackle box. You will suddenly realise that tackle box is not good enough because you need something to sit on. So then you go out and get a seat box. And then you're talking £1,000 for bait runners and all the rest of gear.
Yeah, and
then
you need
a hell of a lot of money if you want to get into it big time.
To get it to the fishing spot. And then you realise you've got to have a motorised tackle barrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloody heavy.
We've gone off on a tangent here, haven't we?
We are. Yeah.
But those were the things. Like, when my dad were a lad, when your dad were a lad, they used to go fishing. They'd have a little folding chair, a little wicker basket, a rod, a reel, some bait, and they'd sit at side at riverbank with whatever they had. Yeah. And they'd be happy to catch on a cane rod, a centre pin reel, trotting down river. Banging a few fish out, job done. Simple. But it's the same old, same old. We have to do everything. Everything becomes more expensive, more technical, blah, 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 blah. But I've proved it many a time when I've been fishing. You can go out and you can bang out a big fish outside of someone that's been bivvied up for 3 or 4 weeks. You can go down there with a carp rod, stalking, flicking a bit of breadcrumb on a bubble float, the basicest system that you can get, and pull a fish in and go, so how are you doing then, guys? Well, we aren't caught. We've been here 4 days. You're doing it wrong then, mate, are you? See ya. Bye. Walk away. It doesn't have to be. It's the same as koi keeping. Doesn't have to be expensive. Doesn't. But
no. Got to do the job though.
Yeah. It's way more exciting stalking than off the surface as well. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's my favourite way of doing it.
Yeah.
We did some koi appreciation before
you Sorry guys, tonight has literally turned into
waffle.
Bubble float and crust.
It's true. Scott's on his truth.
Yeah.
Fishing in France, watched 2 guys have been sat there for a fortnight, bivvied up and locked, never caught naff all. Flicked a piece of French baguette out on a bubble float, top of surface, rattled it into cabbage lilies, up came a 14.5 mirror carp, bang, thanks very much, see you later lads, went and had my dinner. All good fun. There's loads of languages being stuck in here and all sorts of stuff as well. I've got absolutely no idea what most of them say. I hope it's all clean, best be. But let's do some koi appreciation then, eh?
Yeah.
The first ones we'll go onto Facebook and we'll have a look at what we'll put in there. Let's have a look what we've got. Wow.
Oh no! Don't start with a good one.
Okay. We'll go back to it. We'll go back to. We'll go. Ashley Dart's put some in, man. But flipping heck, that's nice. Let's start with the ones that were posted in the right place originally, and we'll go with. Come on, There we go. Not so sure that one's...
Smooth operation, and I love it.
It is.
Seamless.
It just takes a little bit of preparation. So there's his first one.
It's nice Yamabuki, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is Sally's. That's a good size as well.
It is.
Nice Yamabuki.
Very nice Yamabuki. Nice place to start.
Put these two Yamabukis then. It's a fish tank.
Yeah, quickly. Just get them out, put them on front of a ruler, hold them in your hand, puddle of water. Gaz homework learn Japanese. God damn. I would like to. The amount of people that I work with at work. Oh, there's another question, but we'll get back to that one afterwards. And another one there. God damn it, man! I didn't see them ones underneath pictures there. Again, some smaller little ones, which I can tell you right now where these ones have come from. New Forest Sky.
They're not
Are they
Tony's,
pint
are they?
glass?
You can even take fish and put them in a goldfish bowl from New Forest Sky. Look.
I thought in a pint glass.
In a pint glass, is that what it is? No.
It's the best
It's
pirate.
a food
isn't it?
tub. There we go. Some little metallics from Rick's. That's what. See that yellow one there? The full Deutsch.
Goes,
That's what I've got in my tank. One of them.
but all orange, is it?
The old orangey yellow one, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just play that again from the beginning so you can see what I'm talking about. Rick might be able to identify it.
Kikos, aren't they?
I think it is a kick. There we go. From the top view. There. Just like that. That's what it looks like, Rick, whatever that is.
The yellow one.
Yeah. It's metallic, is this one, for sure.
That's right, that one. Could have just filmed that one.
Yeah, the nicest, yeah. You know that little grey line on its back there? Will that
There's another
Well,
question.
No, it's Deutsch Kajaku, so that'll get more pronounced.
Right.
That's a Deutsch Kajaku. Daz, you've got a couple of them in pond still.
I've got a couple of them in bloody fish tank, I reckon.
All right, sweet. There you
So
go.
that's like the Matsuba. So if you got the scales through the back, that's what would be the dark scales as it gets bigger.
That's nice.
Mm.
And two more from New Forest, I would say.
Yes, that looks very familiar. Again, so we have to recognise them now.
Let's see if it tells us any info. That's it, yeah, look.
Yeah. All right.
Yamata Nishiki.
So that was last week. She had that one on.
Yeah. It's going to do it again. I knew it was going to do that. You son of a bitch.
A little bit the other side would be nice, wouldn't it?
It's nice, that. I'm off to bed, Dave. I'm surprised you're not already there, mate. There we go. Deutsch Kajaku and a Kajaku.
Benny Kikakuru, that one.
Is it a Benny Kiko, that one, is it? Oh,
That one
and a
looks like a
first-
butterfly, mate.
Oh, that's a butterfly. That's not one of Rick's. Benny Kikikuru, this.
Yeah. Yeah, the black in the skins. Yeah. Are these all Sally's?
How much are the tubs with the rulers in? The tubs with the rulers in are anything, yeah, these are all Sally's. They're anything from about 55 quid to about 65 quid, depending on the size of what you get in one.
Or a lot more than that.
Or a lot more than that, yeah. So those are the ones that we have had sent in on Facebook. On that particular one. Now there's someone that Ashley Dart sent in. Oh, look at that.
Oh, nice.
Internet.
I mean, that's the same fish. That's just a little bit further on with its development. But look at that. That's mint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's knocking on, Japan level, all Japan level show stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got to admit that the Deutsch that they do over there, man, are beautiful. And I think, it's double posted it, but I mean, look at that. That's mint.
Yeah.
Stunning that, Ashley. No knocking that mate, at all. I don't think we've had. Let's double check to see if we've had any more sent through on.
I don't know if that counts, does it?
Oh, this is.
Is it metallic? The hell's that?
It's cut up in the bottom of the pond.
It's a common bull. Somebody else put it in front, right? Yeah. So there's no more. There's no more that have been submitted in through Facebook. We have got some of the viewers' kite, and these ones are Allen's. I'm not so sure just how good these are going to play because he sent them through to me on WhatsApp, so the quality is not going to be as good, which is a downside to it. But
Quality's right.
Which Allen's
sometimes
this?
look a bit grainy in picture.
Which Allen? You say these are Allens.
Not Alan Tate's, but he only has his name as Alan, so I can't tell you anything different other than Alan. Alan. Alan from Scotland.
Right.
It's nice, that. I like that one. He's into his Benin Kikakuru, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah. Which he does actually say in the message that he sent me. As you can see, I like my Deutsch Metallics.
Yeah. Nothing with that.
I like that one as well.
Yeah.
That's nice, that, isn't it? Still, photograph of the same one, I believe. Now, I couldn't tell if that was the same video as
That's
the
the
first
first one.
Well, that's the
one.
first
It is
one.
the first one, isn't it?
Yeah.
This one's Dino's.
Nice one, Dino. Kikakuru, do.
It's the best
Lemon
lemon
Arawaki.
Arawaki in the
That
world.
is nice, that lemon Arawaki. It's nice, mate, that.
He's got a right bowlful, isn't he?
Yeah.
See, they're a popular fish, aren't they?
They are.
Again, another nice little one too.
Nice.
There's a good collection of metallics there. And if I remember right, we have seen some of these earlier. Dean, these look like they're starting to put some size and growing and all.
Yeah. Nice metallic shearer.
There's a bigger lemon, there is, isn't there? Yeah. There we go. There's
Stash.
the big one.
That's nice. That's proper lemon.
That's nice. That. I think that lemon's got a better pattern than the other one.
Yeah. It's just
But
hope it
that
keeps it lemon. My lemon has disappeared.
See, that's got the quality of the yellow on that's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Nice little female. Trouble is, it's got that little female shape in it, ready to spawn.
Yeah.
Nice fish, that, dude.
That's pretty much how mine was, though. Within
Yeah,
2
yours
years.
was as vibrant as that, but
Yeah.
it's hardly got.
It's just got one little spot left on its tail. That's it.
Yeah.
They do look better with just the scales on the dorsal line, though, without them on the back. That's got it along the back. The bigger ones just got it on the dorsal line.
Yeah.
Makes that yellow pop more on the shoulder.
Nice fish, though.
Well done, Dino.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't finished yet. A couple more of Dinos.
Ooh, butterfly.
This is a bucket butterfly. Kajaku
Bat
butterfly.
fink.
My Kajaku butterfly, mate. It were crap.
No, his lemon Harawaki's beaten. I like it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
To be fair, Ashley's winning with his. Is that his fish now? Is that off Yoshi?
I don't know if that. I think that's. I'm pretty sure I've seen that as a profile picture, so I'd like to say it were his. I don't know for definite though. I know he has got some very nice ones. Again, another Benny Kiko butterfly.
Yeah. Nice big pecs.
Not big pecs.
Wings.
Aragoki, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's free fish that lots of people don't like. Butterfly, Aragoki, metallic.
It's not got much going for it, has it?
But no, but that's what I mean.
Nice, isn't it?
If you like it, you like it though. If you like that style of fish, then all day long.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I like the Aragoki. I don't know why people don't.
I do. I think Aragokis are lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that one don't work. That's good. So we've got
Especially
some more
Ginrin
of
Aragoki. They're really nice.
again another one of our. Now is that a Yamatanishiki again?
No, that's Benny Kiko as well.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, the sumi's just sort of sat down a bit. But see, the colour of the head and the fins and whatever, it's a black fish. Or was a black fish.
Yeah.
Was a blackfish.
Is a black fish. Not really. A shower can't be a Sankey, it's just what it's displaying at the time.
A Kajaku. And I think that one's a Kajaku from Poland, that one.
It's got nice scalation.
Skin lush is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit more pattern on the head and the shoulder, and it'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It's a good body on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit blunt on the head.
Yeah.
Skin's amazing, though, isn't it? It shines.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
And that's the same one at the beginning again. A still shot of it there. It's got some nice luster on that skin though, hasn't there?
Yeah.
I like that one best out of Alan's. That's nice, that one. Oh, Alan says it's an NFK. The Kajaku is, Alan.
Oh.
Guys, you missed a comment. There's someone that wants to see my lemon again. Well, they're more than welcome to watch the live back when it's played again. Just for you, Dino. Just for you, mate. Seeing as though I know you're super proud of it, and there's no reason as why not to be.
Yeah, it is.
There we go.
Banging fish.
That's a really nice lemon arawaka. In fact, mate, I actually like the pattern on the smaller one more so.
Yeah. I like the big one.
I like the big one.
You're outvoted, Gaz. Sorry.
It's not. That's the thing, innit? It's what you like, innit? You both like that. I prefer the colour of the lemon on the bigger one is way more vibrant.
Yeah.
But I like the pattern layout more on the smaller
Yeah, I
one.
don't dorsal scales on the smaller one. I think that spoils it a little bit. I like the clean yellow on the big one.
I like the full zip, me. But then again, with the one that I've got there, I like it as the zip stops for the lemon to whip through it. Aquarium Adventure says, lovely fish, Dino, and give you a £5 for it. There you go. From Yoshiki guy.
Yeah.
Good, don't it? Top two, both of your Shiki guy there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all the ones that we've had sent in, and the last one that we've got is from Rick,
Oh, I'll put a baby in.
which is
Nice lateral pattern.
a Deutz metallic Achiba.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be banging in a few years.
It
Yeah.
will. I love the lateral stripes on them.
Yeah.
You got a side shot of it, Rick?
Of all the guy that's probably got more metallic koi than anybody, he sent us just that one. But I really look at that 20 cm for 6 month old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beast as well. Yeah, it's a nice, big good fish. I don't actually know where it went. To be honest.
Oh, right.
Just
So
idea.
you don't no longer have that one then. It's been
Yeah,
sold.
we've got it, but I don't know where it is.
It's just somewhere on the farm. He's got to wade through 300,000 fish to
shite.
find it.
We'll find it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely went in the keeper pile.
There you go. Somebody were asking about the gaming. That's a spaceship from the game that I have that I play.
Starship Trooper.
No, it's a Star Citizen. The Kajaku, the Kajaku's from New Forest Koi. That one of Alan's is one of yours, Rick.
Oh yeah, skin was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. There you go. That could win a competition, that fish. Which fish? Dino's lemon. I reckon, I reckon
Ashley
it
Dart's
could-
good.
Ashley Dart's definitely good. Yeah,
Yes,
100%. That was a beautiful fish. That's something else. That's mint.
Did we have more questions? You say? Did Tony send a question, or was he?
Yeah, there was
sent,
one on the
he
fish.
sent a question in some form of foreign language of some.
What
A
was the
foreign
fish,
language
Gaz?
question.
When you're looking
He
at the
said
fish
the-
pictures, he says, "Oh,
Oh,
there's
hang
a
about,
picture
we've
there."
got-
I'll go back to that. You never did.
Yes, you're right. Yes, we did. There was 2 more questions underneath. They was mixed in with the fish comments, weren't
Yeah.
they? So I didn't know where. I didn't notice. Right. David Pickstock says, "How to get praziquantel? Is that right?
Yeah, perfect one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Base fluke treatments to dissolve. Only because I think this is the key for them to work, for them working it as they should. I find Learnex Pro is almost like throwing polystyrene balls in the pond. As
Yeah.
it says how to mix
Easy.
up in the tub. I've heard people mix it with vodka. I've heard people mix it with formaldehyde, hot water, women's tights and squeeze directly into the pond, etc., etc. Personally, I've boiled a kettle of water, left it 10 minutes, mixed it for hours, did this again 6 days later and never seen flukes since. May I've just got lucky, I don't know, but I think there's definitely something in how it's mixed and how it affects, or how it has effects. Cheers, guys. P.S. I'll probably get flukes again, back now I've said that. So, I thought that fluke P had
Yes,
the
Brassiquant already done.
in it, and that's a liquid form that you add to liquid and mix it up. It's literally a quick stir.
It
pour
still
in.
doesn't. It still doesn't like mixing with water.
No, it
but-
doesn't. It froths
no.
up a heck of a lot. You get a lot of bubbles.
Frost, like, but
It does. It's like greasy. It's weird. Yeah.
Praziquantel doesn't like. It doesn't want to dissolve. That's the problem. So fluke P is probably the easiest option, Kasuri fluke P, because it's already in liquid. It's easier. So yeah, it's one of them. I think originally Praziquantel had to be acetone, is it?
Bloody
To
hell.
get it to, so you put it basically in an alcohol based to get it to then. So yeah, just buy it as fluke P. It's easier.
So is that hydrophobic then? It doesn't like water.
Something like that, yeah, it wants to obviously float or bond or not dissolve.
Yeah.
So all that when you use fluke pea, there's like the smell and the froth and all the rest of it. That's not praziquantel. That's just whatever they've used to get it to dissolve into the water.
Very liquid.
But yeah, so Kisuri have managed to create it as a liquid, but you can buy it as fluke solve as well. So yeah, it's available. There's probably other companies. I don't know if it's done in liquid by anyone else.
Well, that's the only one that I know of, and I found when I mix that stuff, other than it frothing up in pond and frothing up in my filter with the aeration in there, that stuff is belting, man. It's brilliant, and there was zero effort to mixing that. Pour the liquid into liquid, stir it up, jobs are working. But I know what he means with like the LearnX and LearnX Pro. Man, that stuff just floats around on top of the surface of your pond. You can see it as a separation from what you've mixed in and poured into pond. And I'm going to say I found that stuff shit. Didn't do nothing. Didn't get rid of the flukes for me.
I've had the same with LearnX. I've treated and they seem to have it knocks
LearnX Pro first, LearnX and then LearnX Pro second time, and neither of it got rid of it.
Yeah,
it's probably getting it to work right, getting it to dissolve properly at the right time.
Is the key.
Right temperature in it.
Yeah, you can see. I could see it just literally floating around as little white separate bits all over the surface of water.
Yeah.
Maybe the fish eat them and then absorb the chemicals and kill the fluke.
Possibly.
And then the last question that we had then is from Jamie, Life Around the Koi Pond. And we have discussed this numerous times before, but we'll go over it again. People covering their ponds, does it really benefit the fish, or would it be better to leave them out in the open? And another question as a side note afterwards, one more thing. I've been feeding my fish crushed garlic. What are the benefits of doing so? Over to you guys on the panel.
Parasites.
The amount that you're feeding garlic, crushed garlic to your koi, they say it's beneficial to the keeping down or keeping parasites at bay. But the amount that you would have to feed them to get rid of parasites, you just simply couldn't get enough into them for it to make an ounce of difference.
Yeah.
Other than the benefits and the health benefits of what there are in for eating garlic, is healthy digestive systems.
It's good for the blood. I mean, the fish won't have a heart attack or angina.
I think the problem is it comes from a different place. So a few years back, we used to use garlic powder and a yeast product, and they do both. Basically, there's enough garlic powder that goes into the food, so they excrete it. So it does to some effect reduce parasite problems, and the yeast goes into the blood, goes through the gut wall into the bloodstream and triggers their immune system. So the fish have a stronger immune response naturally, and they're excreting garlic. But it's one of those, how do you quantify how effective it is or how good it is pretty much impossible. But yeah, the research suggests that it does help.
Well, they reckon that if we eat it, it's supposed to repel insects, as in mosquitoes and such, don't they? Because you sweat it out your pores.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? So if you've got a population, if the trouble is with most health issues with fish is the environment's not great. Yeah. So if you've got too many fish in the tank, you have parasite problems. If your pond's running fine, you tend not to have a problem. So, would you say if you feed your fish to garlic, the one that doesn't eat much, he gets all the parasites because he doesn't smell so bad? I don't know. It's one of them. It's so difficult.
Breath stinks, man. Stay away from him.
Yeah. But it's a little bit funny. You get people. I'll go out on a night out. My missus will go out on a summer's night. I probably excrete whatever, and I don't get bitten by anything. And she'll come back like Quasimodo with bites.
That's what I'm like, mate. Midges love me.
So I must smell different to her, or my skin's tougher, or combination, or whatever.
Mosquitoes, midges, and all those types, they're attracted to carbon monoxide that we breathe out. So depending on how much carbon monoxide you expel, depends on whether or not you're going to get.
That's where you get wrong, then, Gaz.
So you're telling me my missus talks a lot more hot air than I do?
I'm not saying that, and that never came out of my wife at my mouth at all. She can slap you when she watches that one back. I'm not saying anything of the such.
But yeah, there is health benefits to it, but
isn't that what one of the major food ingredients of Medicoy?
Yeah, it's got garlic in it.
Garlic in it.
A lot of foods do have.
But Medicarp was the original one, so their main beneficial product was the yeast in it, the immune stimulant from the yeast.
Right.
Medicarp was that's the JP, it's the Japan one, but Medicoy is made in this country, I believe, or I don't know. So they add garlic, clay, yeast, kind of what I do with some of our stuff, and it all has an effect. But if the environment's good, and then
could you on that yeast then? Could you feature koi marmite? Because in that yeast,
it's to do with the cells, the size of the yeast cells. So you technically could feed your fish marmite, but the yeast cells in marmite are still whole, whereas this product was broken. It goes beyond my technical knowledge, and they used to feed it to trout before harvesting to reduce the problems when they're stressed, and it does work, but it's how to quantify how much it works and for how long it works. You can't do it all the time, otherwise they just get used to it.
Yeah,
or they stop producing the immune response or whatever. So it's like colour enhancers, isn't it? Yeah, colour enhancers work. Yeah. How do you quantify how much colour enhancers work? It's really hard. Those fish look better because they've had this environment. They look better. They've had that environment. But the amount of sun they've had, the amount of colour food you had, there's so many little tweaks you can do, and I think the upshot is the more you can do, the better. Generally, the better the dark they get, the better they are. The more colour enhanced they get, the better the colours are. But ultimately, it comes down to environment and genetics, doesn't it? The right water from the right fish just look better.
Yeah.
So there we go. The first part of the question was
no idea.
Benefits.
Yeah, I can't remember.
That's the second part of the question answered. Benefits of covering a koi pond.
All right.
Oh, wow.
And we have touched on this.
We did digress a bit, didn't we?
There is benefits.
No, because it was the second part of the question. So
debris, you stop leaves and stuff going in the pond, predator protection, and if it's sealed enough, you retain X amount of heat. But it's got to be sealed. Putting a polycarbonate sheet across 2/3 of your pond,
you can do nothing, is it?
Not going to do nothing at all, is it?
No.
So, it's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless you're going to do it, if you do it properly, it works. If you don't do it properly, you might as well not bother.
I think it's more psychological, isn't it? You think it's doing something, it's not.
Well, everybody always says this, and the favourite one stops the wind chill.
It does if it's sealed. It does if it's covering it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If it covers it all from one side to the other completely, we out know all in there. We out know where that the wind and everything can rattle underneath. But then everybody says you got to leave a gap so they can gas off. So everybody leaves them slightly raised up. Which we all know that if a fence is stood up against wind blows it down, whether you've got gaps in it or not. If it's strong enough, wind's getting underneath it.
Yeah.
To an element. It's going to make a difference by a couple of degrees. Are your fish going to feel the benefit of those couple of degrees? Possibly. Are they going to feel a great deal of difference? Not really. But if you want to go out and buy a polycarb sheet to put on your pond because you think it's doing something or you feel it's doing something, it's each to their own. Everybody that chooses to do, it's entirely up to yourself. I've seen people that turn around and say, well, my pond's at 9 degrees and I've covered mine up with polycarb. And I've turned around and said, well, mine's got 11 degrees and it's not covered with anything. So go figure that one.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
the
lot
problem.
colder in Yorkshire than what you've got in your area down there. But
Polycarbonate's got a habit of not letting the heat through radiation.
yeah,
from
exactly.
The sun,
So once it cools, you have to take them back off. Even Gary, and I've forgotten the gentleman's last name. Damn it. He has those balls on his pond.
Oh, yes.
And he turned around and said, all right, it's maintained the temperature, but now the sun's out and the pond's warming up, it's not getting warm. So he take all his balls off and his temperature come up on his pond and warmed it back up again. So those prevent in exactly the same form.
Is that
They
Irish
keep the
Geordie
heat
Coy?
in, but it stopped it from warming it back up again.
Yeah,
When it needed to.
which is again where you come down to a polytunnel where you've got no wind chill, maximum. If you set it up right, you get maximum radiation to it.
Yeah.
So it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It maximises even just half an hour of sun in the winter. It'll heat up for quite a few hours.
If you do it like you've done it, like Daz has done it, like Vicky's done it, your ponds in the polytunnels are keeping it heated, are keeping it warmer than because it's fully enclosed, fully covered up. You get the heat through the day, warms up the water and keeps it at a maintained steady temperature. You don't get the dramatic falls, you don't get dramatic cools and chills with the wind blowing across the surface, etc., etc. But yeah, there's very few. If you do it the right way, yes, you will see the benefits from it by covering it with some form of a polytunnel, enclosing it, encapsulating it all, yes. But
You've got to have the space to do it, haven't you?
that's it. And then you've got to make it accessible so you can still get in there.
Yeah.
And if you've done what I've done and put it against your fence, you're screwed. You ain't no way of getting in.
Yeah, the main heat though is direct radiation from the sun. You ain't going to get around that. So if your pond sits somewhere where it gets the sun, it will, even on a winter's day, during the day, it will warm up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now I need a polytunnel. I'm never getting this past the wife.
Yeah, flowers in it. For all your vegetables.
And
Good
no,
life.
Yeah.
that wouldn't work. That has exactly the complete opposite effect.
Tell her you're growing watercress in it.
Black attracts the heat, but it doesn't warm the water. That's
No.
why when they've done it and they wanted in America over in States, they took in articulated lorry after hundreds and hundreds of them, letting thousands of the black balls all over a reservoir to kill off the sunlight, to starve all the growth of algae and everything they got growing in reservoirs and stuff. It would more likely kill everything in there.
Yeah, we tried that with black sheets over ponds. And all it does, the black sheet absorbs all the heat. And then that's it. It doesn't go to the pond. So underneath the black sheet is as cold as you could imagine.
But the black surface is nice and warm.
Yeah, the sheets gets roasty toasty, but they just take all the heat. They just sit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there's probably a whole thing you could do about it, isn't there? Gain the maximum heat from the sun.
Yeah.
And to be fair, coloured water is the best we've ever
Yes.
found.
It holds the heat, doesn't it?
It just absorbs the heat from the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get different temperatures just from the colour of the pond.
Yeah.
Top Jagger says, Rick, can you do an Asagi line just for me? Ah.
And Vince, Jesus. What am I going to make him different?
To be fair, he already does it in a Asagi line, mate. And he has some from in, the little, what were they, Vince? Were they 9 or 10 quid a pop ones? Where we bought some little Ginrin metallic ones, Ginrin ones, Asagis. And you've
Five
got some
each,
bigger
man.
ones as well. Were it 5 of that one? I think it was. It might have been. Yeah, it might be. Yes, it might have been actually. And the little other one, what was the other one I got?
Oh, it was the Karashigoi.
Karashigoi. Yeah, the Karashigoi was a tenner.
Is that still hiding?
No, it's not, mate. No, it's not. It's out and about. It's out and about with the rest of them. It has grown a bit as well.
Should hope so.
Alan says, great night. Gaz, great night. Have taken on your advice. won't go that far. Vince says it's all the bloody chili sauce you eat.
What, me?
Technically, with that chili that he did the other week, man, it should be good for keeping parasites and bugs away for the rest of his years, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
That could be the mosquito thing, couldn't it? You're right.
Yeah.
Alcohol and chili. And curry.
Combination.
Dino says my lemon was 1 year old in August the 23rd. When will it be ready to spawn? 3 years, 2 years time. Technically, 3 year old.
That fish is carrying eggs now, mate, from the look of
It
it.
is. I'm looking at it.
Because it's not 1 year old in August. It was already 2 years old, if not more.
I don't know, but it looks...
It's a good sized fish, that, for a 1 year old.
Looks like it could spawn, yeah.
How big is it, Dino? How big is that fish? That's got to be 45 easy, 50 cm. It looked a big fish in that bowl, that.
No, it looked about 35 centimetres.
Yeah, I'd say about
Reckon?
35, yeah.
About 35, and it looked like a Niso, but it looked like it had eggs. But yeah. He's been
Well, there
showing
we
us
go.
pictures of that fish for more than a
Got the
year.
size of his hands, anyway.
He's definitely had that fish for more than a year, because he's been putting it in every competition that we've done for the last year. So, question: would any of you get an ozone filter? No.
Ozone's got its place, but again, it's the same thing. If I had one pond, I'd use a drum. I'd have a drum on it all day long. If I could afford a drum and have one pond, I'd have a drum. And I'd probably use ozone if I could afford it. But
It's just an extra complication. Do we
we've
really
got
need
one
it?
pond, we've got nothing else to worry about bar the bits that go with it, have you?
Yeah, but the trouble is, you put all that crap in your pond, there's that much shizzle for the fish to bang themselves on.
Yeah, you don't put the ozone in the pond and the drum's not in the pond, it's fine. It's all right. The pond's still all right.
It's just unnecessary stuff, in my opinion. Keep it simple.
Again, I think it's adding another thing to a pond that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah, but if you've got one pond and you want to play with stuff, you need stuff.
Yeah. For the science experiment side of it, and you want to mess around and see what it does and how much of a difference. Yeah, again, why not? But for me, nah, thanks.
If it were that good, everyone would have ozone on the ponds, wouldn't they?
Some people do.
Is that much of a necessity in life? Which
You
it
can say
is.
that about UVs or biofilters or anything.
Yeah, you could.
Because
I suppose you could, yeah. God. Did you get into that time of night?
must be.
It must be, yeah. Dino says, got it at Jack's Open Day, toe side turned knee side August the 23rd. That toe side, mate, that you got from Jack's was a toe side going on knee side then.
Who knows, mate? It's
I
a
would have
nice
said it
fish.
It's a
Looks
very
nice.
nice fish.
And I
I
reckon
would have said it would come in, it would either going into its third year or this is its second year. And if it's its second year, that's some decent growth, mate. That's
Check its passports.
Yeah, check its passport. See what it's stamped.
Dino, you don't need to worry about it. If you put it in a tank with a male at 20 degrees and it spawns and lays eggs,
It's 3-year-old.
it doesn't matter if it's 3-year-old, it doesn't matter what it is. It's
I'm
when
just
it's
taking
spawned.
piss out of him. He knows.
It will spawn, it will lay eggs when it's ready to lay eggs, mate.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're going to go when they're ready, aren't they? But it does look like it's holding, doesn't it?
Oh,
I'd say
definitely.
I'd
Yeah.
100% say that's got
Yeah.
eggs in it.
Now, is it the case, Rick? Are they always when they hold when the first spawn? It's normally unsuccessful, or can you get viable
No,
eggs?
it's not
from
up
the
to,
first-
it's less successful. No, you can quite often get, you still might get 50% fertility.
Yeah, because when we first spawned one of Daz's fish that he got from Mick Lawson,
Oh, yeah.
that
monster,
first
yeah.
spawn that she did looked a weird colour. The
It
eggs
was a
looked
weird
funny.
colour. And they were a different
And
colour
not-
the second year round.
None of it were fertile, was it? You didn't get
No.
out from him, did you?
They were bright yellow. Weird.
Yeah, but you could have different reasons for it. Obviously, diet has been fed, water conditions it's been in, stress levels. So, yeah.
Gaz, why don't I ever see anyone in the UK use stress coat, or it's just an American thing? Stress coat? What's stress coat?
Yeah, no, I've got some bags that have got stress coat advertised on, some fish bags, and I thought, what the hell is stress coat? It must be some kind of medication.
Used to use it in all the pet shops, didn't they? Stress coat, put a squirt in the bag.
Right. You're laughing, so doesn't it work?
Well, if you put a fish in a bag, it's going to be as stressed as it's stressed, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, unless it's some, like LSD or something, it's going to have a nice party in there.
Chewing its nuts off all the way through.
Basically, they used to use in Japan. They use Elbegin, which is like an antibacterial sedative. So the fish, it reduces the bacterial count in the bag, and B, it makes the fish just chilled out. So,
I suppose it's like having a paracetamol before you have your head chopped off.
Is it like that funky green stuff that they put in bags?
That's Elbegin, yeah. So that's what they used to use. It's like a little, not a powder. It's like little pellets. Don't really see it in this country, but yeah, stress coat. A lot of pet shops used to have it. I don't really know, to be fair. But it would be something that's just a mild sedative that, chills them out.
If you were going to
It's
spawn,
probably banned by the EU.
yeah, it probably is. If you were going to spawn a lemon harawaki, what would you put it with? Dino's asked a question.
Another lemon
A
arrow.
chag.
A lemon harawaki would be a good
Yeah,
start.
a lemon harawaki to a lemon harawaki, or another metallic of a similar.
Well, another Deutz, really.
What do you want to get, Dino?
What do you want to produce? Actually, there's a question up there that I missed.
Some sort of
put
key
in-
code.
It was put in from Tony. Question: what comes out if Sankey and Shower, or if you like, white and
Shanky.
blackfish are paired for spawning?
Shanky.
What comes out with a? What hang about? Now he wrote this in French or something, and it made as much sense in French as what it does in English. Why? Question: what comes out if Sankeys and Showers, or if you like, white and blackfish are paired for spawning? White and blackfish will produce white and blackfish.
I think what he's saying is a Sankey spawning are all the offspring of white, and a shower offspring you only keep the black offspring from days old.
Right. So what would come out from? What colour would the fry be from a white and black fish? Is that what you mean?
So basically, I think he said
No,
if you cross a
between Sankey
Sankey,
and Shower.
yeah. So a Sankey and a shower, Saka have done it. It's a Dragon Ball line. Momotaro have done it. That's their Lion Queen line. So the number of black based fish is reduced, so you get less showers from the spawning. And technically, whenever we've tried stuff like it, tends to reduce the quality on both sides. That's what if you do enough of them with higher quality parents, you might end up with some good fish. So we brought some of the Dragon Ball line Sankeys. So we've got Sankeys from Sakai that are, one of their parents is a shower, and I've got some of those offspring to play with this year, hopefully. But yeah, whenever we've tried stuff like that, so when you breed showers, the black fry become showers in a series, and the white fry become kahakus and Sankeys, but they're generally really poor quality. So you don't end up keeping. You think you're going to be keeping, but they're rubbish. Whereas the black ones, a small percentage of the black ones make nice showers or whatever. So yeah, you just reduce the number, and it depends what you're trying to gain from it, I suppose. If you've got a Sankey and a shower, if they're both amazing fish and you want to produce, I don't know, it depends what you're trying to gain. It's one of those. If your Sankey's 110 centimeters and you want to make your showers bigger, then you use that massive Sankey to get the showers bigger, which is what Sakai's done to improve the size of the showers, and it's what Momotaro did to improve the size of the showers. But you've got to be able to go for a lot of fish to get anything worth keeping.
Yeah.
But you will perhaps improve the body structure or the growth genetics in it. I think Sakai also did it to try and improve the Sumi in the Sankeys early doors. Because the Sumi and Sankeys when they're young is so volatile that it's like covers them, loads of it. You've seen Sankeys, you spawn Sankeys and they're fried, the black's crazy, and then it recedes. and sometimes doesn't really come back. So you end up with lots of kahakus with just a few specks and whatever. So I think their plan was just to stabilise the sumi in them, but
Yeah.
who knows? Another good selling point, isn't it?
Next, this is the last question, and then I've got an answer for a question, and that's it, ladies and gents. We're going to be bringing it to an end as we're We had an earlier finish last week, and this one we're pushing to 3 hours 30. Rick, what filtration have you got, and what would you suggest to people that can't stretch to a drum filter?
To be honest, we use every filtration under the sun you can imagine, but the ones that run best for us, if you've got the space, is settlement, or some kind of settlement as your mechanical filter. Because obviously, if you can't afford a drum or whatever, then just basic settlement with brushes or whatever.
What is settlement, Rick?
Huh?
What is settlement?
Settlement. So basically, you've got your pond of fish, and then you've got another pond slightly smaller with no fish. So the water passes into there, and the shit settles. Pretty much.
Yeah. So basically, it's like a vortex without vortex.
Yeah, vortexes don't work unless you've got the size of a vortex. If you do the maths, the original vortexes are from trout farms, so they'd be 20 meters across.
Yeah.
So the water spins and the crap settles, and you've got a constant pull on the bottom drain, so to flow through. So the bottom drain is constantly pulling 6-inch drain through to waste, and it works well. But you reduce that to a foot diameter, and it spins. It's going like that.
Yeah.
Occasionally you get some stuff settle, and then the gas builds up, and it floats up and buggers off again. It doesn't really work. The biggest settlement you get away with, and from that you can pump then to some kind of shower trickle type filter.
Yeah.
If you set that up right, it can't go wrong, really. And that's kind of, for us, for the systems that might only get a proper clean out once a year. You know, most people clean their ponds out weekly or whatever, some sort of filter. If you can set someone up that you can go away on holiday for 2 weeks, come back, and it's fine.
That's what you want.
Yeah. But it's space, obviously, to do that. If your pond's, I don't know, 10 foot by 6 foot, you need a settlement that's same sort of width, but half. It's quite a big area, just literally to let the crap settle in. That you can then either have a bottom drain on or clean out. Ideally, the ones I'm doing in my tunnel, I'll show people. It's literally a bottom drain from the pond to another pond, but the way the pipework comes up, the shit settles on another bottom drain with a tap. So you can just dump the shit once a week, dump the crap. Simple as. There is no maintenance. There's no belts, drums, screens, filters. And if you don't do it for a month, it doesn't matter. There's just more.
Yeah.
And let it naturally break down and do what nature would do.
Yeah, you still need to sort of get rid of the bulk of it, but in a manner that suits you, innit?
Yeah.
Time wise and
Yeah.
Some of the old school filters. K1, K1, the media is probably the best. The fluid beds, if you're doing intensive stuff, it's phenomenal because you can get it moving. It's easy to get moving. Biologically, it's brilliant. But obviously, you can't have any crud in there. It's got to be pretty clear water anyway. So yeah, settlement to that, or a settlement to a trickle tower, or a settlement to a shower. You just got to split the mechanical side of it. If you can't have a drum. And from what I've seen from some of the sieves and stuff, they're the same as drums. They're a bit of a pain. So you go back old school.
Yeah.
Vortex is a big vortex kind of works, but you might as well just have a square.
I mean, if you've got a bottom drain and it's drawing out the heavy solids in a smaller settlement chamber, those solids sink quick, but the fines go through sponge filter media of some substance to take out the coarser fines into a moving bed, from a moving bed into a polisher, from a polisher back to your pond.
Pretty much, yeah. You can just you don't. It depends on the water clarity you want. For us, you screw the. You don't need polishers. You don't know. It's biological. In it. You take out the shit. You take out the ammonia in whether it's a fluid bed or a shower. Off you go.
If you're wanting to achieve crystal clear water, you need to polish it in a fine scale, don't you?
Yeah. And that can be. There's lots of ways of doing it. And a lot of our filters that we run are almost back to front for most people. We'll put the dirty water through a biological filter first, but it's a free flowing biological filter. So all the sediment just washes out of that into a settlement chamber.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to the pond, and we can then just take the waste out of the settlement chamber, and it just runs. You can leave it for forever.
Yeah.
It just runs, and it's the water, although not crystal clear, is fine for the fish. And from our point, when you've got hundreds of ponds, that's what you need.
You don't need the clarity in those areas, though, do you? You just need the clarity to display them.
The shop's the only place where you have clear water. Yeah. The rest of it's be lucky to catch a fish on a good day.
To be,
yeah. But yeah, so realistically, I would, if I was building a pond, one pond for myself, I would have a drum, because they just take out, if you put that, they just take out so much of the waste, and a lot of that waste does produce ammonia. So you're just creating a much better environment straight away.
Yeah.
But it's a cost, and they are as maintenance free as they are. They're not. They're not. You still got to do whatever checks.
Yeah.
So.
Right then. So last two, there's another one being popped in, but Jamie's asked there, is Mick Lawson okay? Haven't seen him on here for a long time. We've gone his own way, mate. I couldn't tell you. I've neither spoke with him or heard from him in well over 6 months. I'm not going to go into the whys or what for. I don't believe in airing my laundry in public, as all I can say is he was asked to leave, and that's as far as I'm going to go. The other one being there is the last one which we've got. I know you've heard me bang on about my underwater camera. Would you ever consider getting one? Simple answer, no. For me, I believe koi should be... That's one thing I think about koi. I think they should be viewed from above as they was bred to be so. So for me, no mate, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'd consider a GoPro to film them when they're spawning.
Oh yeah, just so you can have a look at them in their environment. But I wouldn't specifically buy a camera to put in my pond for my fish to flash off and cause damage on. The less in my pond, the better for me.
Yeah, true.
I don't want in my pond. Just if you got a button on your phone, you can make sure it's all right, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's the difference is I can see if my fish are all right because I can stand above them and look down on them and go, yeah, my fish are all right. If I were concerned about one, I'd stick a net in him, put it in a bowl and have a look at it. But my fish are used to that because that's all they've ever had. But I wouldn't put a camera in there. The less electrics in a pond for me, the better.
Yeah. And the thing at the end of the day, if
something goes wrong, that's 240 volts, that's everything dead.
If you're watching them while you're feeding them, if they've got any marks underneath them, you can generally see it when they come up to feed.
Yeah. I'd have a window and a camera and a drum.
On every pond.
I like the idea of a window.
But
again, at the same time, I don't like a window because I don't think the fish look nice from side on.
They look deep. They look like a bream. They don't look like a koi all of a sudden. It's weird.
From that, what you see from at top, and you think, yeah, that looks a nice shape, good body, nice looking fish. Then you see it square on, side on, you think, that looks like a fat mirror cat with colours.
Yeah, it does. But except certain fish that really benefit from a window, like linear patterns and Arigo.
Yeah,
and
that you can appreciate. Yeah,
yeah, but I'd have
100%.
to have a pond just full of those.
Really nice scalation patterned fish,
Yeah.
singular coloured fish with some real nice, and then you can appreciate it all the time. But anything that's patterned, as they say on the top, opening up like that, you can see all laid across the top. Well, you don't get to see that because you're looking at it from there. Where really it shouldn't have any of that pattern because it should only come to the linear line.
Yeah.
But you can appreciate them from both sides, can't you? You like looking at your fish in your tank,
Yeah. Yeah, true.
and then you can climb up on top of your tank looking from above.
Or you can drop a camera in your tank.
I suppose with that statement, yeah, I do like looking at them through a tank, but I don't know about.
Yeah, but the difference is when they're smaller, they haven't got that depth of body, have they? The same.
No, I suppose, yeah. They're a bit more cuter when they're this sort of size, aren't they? This sort of size. But again, when you see them like a metre long.
Yeah.
Like a metre long, isn't it?
No,
What
I
are you
mean,
gonna
that's,
do?
that's the thing, and I've heard a few people say this, and I can't just be on my own on it. I think when they get to some size, you think, God damn, that's pushing into the elements of looking ugly.
Yeah, when they start sort of bulging out, the head looks too small for the body, and they've got great big shoulders on them and everything. They look a bit like a shot putter, don't they?
I think you're just jealous.
Fish envy.
That body.
There we go. Look at this.
Probably right.
See, this is the bit. This window, camera, drum, polytunnel, but not that expensive. I ain't got any of these things, mate. None of them. None of them at all. I haven't even got a filter system that's been purchased from a shop. I made mine. I made it all.
I've only got a few that have been bought.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of them ain't running.
Yours are made out there. I mean,
All mine are made apart from a couple of multi-bays that I got cheap second hand. Yeah.
And the vast majority of people that I know that keep koi on a cheaper level have all got some similar sort of filter systems that they've done themselves as well.
Yeah, most of mine are made out of tote boxes from Philip Green. I can say that because he's gone bust now.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying there's out wrong with them, Jamie. I mean, each to their own. That's the beauty of. See, you get to go into your shed, into your filter house, and you can look at your fish on your camera while you're doing everything. I can do my filter and stand in my door looking down on them at my pond, whereas with you, you're watching and interacting with them through a camera. With me, my fish come to me, and I interact with them by pouring food right into the mouths.
Yeah, but to be fair, Jamie's raised up, isn't he? Whereas you're looking at ground level.
That's what I mean. So you can see the benefit. Jamie's way of doing it with a camera is a far cheaper window. One hell of a far cheaper window. Apart from the fact that you've paid 400, 500 quid for your TV and your camera. So your window would have been cheaper at probably 250 quid.
Yeah, but
depending on how technical you go with your cameras and stuff and your monitor that you're displaying it on. So, yeah. But yes, there you go. Yeah. The best name of the night, Top Chagger says, top view, far better. Good man. And on that note, guys, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this week. I've really enjoyed this evening. Had a nice good chat and had some nice conversation. I think we got through nearly every question. We got through all the questions that were sent in. There will not be a koi appreciation next week, guys. And the reason being is I don't want people getting the fish out, cameras taking photos of them and disturbing them if this cold nip comes in like they've said. So we'll leave it for next week. We'll pick up when the temperatures start to warm a little bit more and the fish are a little bit more active. Till then, thanks very much for everybody for joining us. Thank you again, Rick. Thank you again, Daz.
Welcome.
Thank you to the admin team and for everybody else that's joined us this evening. Usual thing, guys, if you're enjoying this kind of content, do us a huge favour. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. And until next time, guys.
Keep smiling.
Hey, keep smiling. Catch you on the next one. Good night, all. Lemon, lemon. You won, Dino. You can have that one, mate. We'll let you have the lemon aromatic.
I think you've earned it.
Good night, all. Catch you on the next one.
Night, everyone.